Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Empty Promise podcast. My name is Chris, and today you're joining me and my best friend in the whole wide world, Mr. James D. Downey.
Hello.
As you join us here on this Sunday the 4th of October, on what is episode 105, the 105th time, D, that we've got together to converse in this manner.
It's bizarre.
It is bizarre. And this is the first episode of our spooky season. The spooky season is upon us, D.
I don't know. It's hard to believe, because obviously the summer has just didn't exist this year.
yeah, true.
But,
isn't it absolutely crazy to think that last year our spooky season consisted of Dyatlov Pass and Amityville? Like that was them two really stand out to me, and that seems like no time
a lifetime ago.
Oh, yeah.
no time ago. Yeah, you're right. We're still fucking peddling that stuff, but we're just like, that pass. Get back to that one. That was
exactly. Good. Yeah. I know, that's crazy. That's my sister said that to me during the week. She was like, I just recently listened to your Dyatlov Pass episode. She goes, but that was a year ago. I was like, it wasn't a year ago. She's like, I'm pretty sure you said it was something to do with Halloween. And true enough, it was part of our spooky season last year. So here we are.
Our Spooktoberfest.
For 4 whole weeks, all you're going to get is the spookiest of stories from us.
We're going to scare you stiff?
To death, maybe? Scare you stiff? I don't know if that would be.
No. That has bad connotations.
That's exactly what it has. One of our community questions this week also revolves around spooky stories, but we will get to that.
That's good.
To regular listeners of the podcast, you are very much welcome back. And to any new listeners, new members of our ever-growing community, you are very, very welcome. If this is the first podcast which you have found, we hope it's a good one for you. Remember that you can find the video version if you're listening to the audio on any podcast hosting service. The video, will be available over at youtube.com/empty promise podcast. With all that said, D, and that done and dusted and out of the road, I don't have any on this day this week. You, my friend, are bringing me a list of on this day.
Yeah, I am. And in true Empty Promise fashion, it's not from this day. It's from the 9th of October. So if you have any... Well, this probably suits better because we always do on this day on the day we record, which is, not the day that people listen. So if you're listening to this on the 9th of October...
Which is only 5 days away or 6 days away, D.
Yeah. So hopefully somebody is genuinely listening to this on the 9th of October. If you are, let us know. So you're the guy. You're the one person. I did it. I listened to the 9th of October. and this 1701, Yale University was founded in the USA on the 9th of October.
Yale University. Whereabouts is Yale, D? Whereabouts is Yale?
I believe it's in the USA, Chris.
Oh, okay. But geographically speaking, in the USA, are we talking north or are we talking south? Yale.
I want to say north.
I want to say east.
Yeah, northeast.
Okay, yeah, we'll agree with northeast. Yale is in the northeast. 1701? Yeah. That's a long time ago.
No.
Jesus.
It's pretty crazy. I don't know if that's the earliest. There's probably an earlier one.
Universities?
Yeah, in American universities. I feel like.
Sure.
But the tentative link, Chris, between this and the list that Philip Ardow has provided us is focus on Yale. 20 problems I've had with my keys over the years. Number 1, losing them. Number 2, having them stolen. Thinking I've lost them, then finding them later. Thinking I've had them stolen, then finding them later. Forgetting where I've put them, but managing to find them. Putting the wrong key in the lock. Putting the right key in the wrong lock. Putting the wrong key in the wrong lock. Putting the right key in the right lock, but with great difficulty in the dark. Putting the right key in the right lock, but with great difficulty because a dog is tearing at my trouser leg, /I've been celebrating, /I have a headache, /I'm distracted. They're eventually rubbing a hole in my trouser pocket. They're being painful to roll over while in a pocket. The whistle and I'll bleep key ring they're attached to, arousing the suspicion of the U.S. Secret Service during a tour of the White House in 1991. That was oddly specific.
That's a very specific one, yeah.
They're setting off various metal detectors during moments of absent-mindedness, hurting my teeth when clenching a key between them, bending back my thumbnail very painfully when trying to put a new Yale key on a key ring that doesn't have one of those easy open links, dropping a big bunch of keys in the audience during a theatrical performance, causing much tutting and a reaction on stage, hiding my keys in my left slipper when in hospital, then jamming my toes up against them when I'd forgotten all about it, using my front door key as a prop during a photo shoot, and then worrying that someone may trace around it, have a duplicate cut, and use it to get into my house and take things. And finally, using them as the subject for a list in this book and trying to come up with 20 problems.
That's incredible. Like, the fact that he did come up with 20 problems involving keys is phenomenal.
Philip Bardette. I'm been blessed to have this book, and I haven't my shame haven't looked at it yet, but I'm gonna have a look at this again throughout today and probably most of tonight.
There's some good lists in there. I think I can relate to maybe like one or two of those things that he speaks about with keys, having them in your pocket and them kind of hurting, and putting the wrong key in the wrong lock. I think and that's about it.
Do you ever? And it's probably just me. Do you ever open a door by locking the key? Like, go in and go like, twist the key to the right once, like a full revolution. You're like, oh, that door's open now, but it couldn't possibly, because you've turned it clockwise, which was is how you lock a door. And then you're like, oh, the door didn't open. What the fuck? So then you turn it counterclockwise one turn and say, now it must be open, but it's not, because you just turned it one to the right.
You've turned it one more.
You're completely confused for a minute, and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
I think maybe that's happened before, maybe once or twice.
All the time, man. Most of the time when I turn it to the right, it just like doesn't go any further. I'm like, oh, what am I doing? I'm just turning it the wrong way. And then I do it. But sometimes there's like enough give, it just does a full turn and you're like, it should be open. But it's not.
I get
and you turn it the other way and it's still not open. And your head just starts to rupture as you question all reality.
That is oddly specific right there.
Never happened. Never happened to me. Anyway.
We have an issue with our back door, in that the handle itself doesn't work as it doesn't function as a handle. So the only way to open and close the door is like with the key to lock to keep the little slider in place.
Oh yeah.
The door will stay closed. But I've done it many a times there where I've twisted in a clockwise manner, forgot myself, twisted once back to the left, and wondered why the door is still not opening.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. I had one fact I seen about on this day, 2006, WikiLeaks was started. Remember the whole WikiLeaks thing?
WikiLeaks or
WikiLeaks? Leaks, sorry. Not links. WikiLeaks was started 2006. And we all know how that ended up. So
how did that end up? Where is he now?
He's
on the run, isn't he?
No, it's Sweden, is he not? Because he can't be extradited or something like that, isn't it? Or
he's
in a country where he can't be extradited.
Yeah, he was like in like an Ecuadorian embassy or something like that.
Yeah. Somewhere where he can't be brought back to face charges. They're trying desperately to find a loophole.
I think actually did they not? I think what happened with him as well is that like the charges are not dropped, but like it's past like the statute of limitations or some shit like that.
So like the given time.
But it's not. Yeah, but now the problem is if he comes back, it's like, why have you fled? Why were you fleeing? Why were you living in a foreign embassy?
So they can't actually arrest him anymore? Is that right?
No, I don't think so. Well, see, okay, let's not get too much into it, but I think he wasn't being arrested for WikiLeaks. He was being arrested for like I think it was an alleged sexual assault.
Oh, right, okay.
And a lot of people were saying the only reason he's getting arrested for sexual assault is because of WikiLeaks.
Oh,
so it's kind of like in a roundabout way. That's where they're trying to do him. But that case is like can't do him on it anymore. But now it's like if he comes back, they're going to be like all these questions about why are you staying in all these foreign embassies and who are you working for? And then it's going to be like, oh,
maybe he just likes foreign embassies,
I mean, he likes different cultures.
Yeah, maybe.
It's nothing to do with all the state secrets that we're like.
No,
probably.
But with this, I think this is a good segue into our news for this week. If you want to go into that.
Yeah,
I meant to even ask you before we even started. Like, had you got much news, or where we stand with that? That's normally something we ask each other before we start.
Yeah,
We
do preparate. We do preparate. I like that.
We're preppers.
We preparate a lot. Prepare a lot. I do have some news. Yeah, I have the standard piece of Nick Cage news, obviously, but I'll leave that.
Really, all I really care about on this show.
I'll lead into that. I'll start with this little nugget.
You go ahead.
Subway rolls, so the Subway bread rolls.
Oh yes,
have been ruled too sugary to be considered bread.
Yes,
in Ireland.
That is not insane. So Subway, the fast food sandwich chain, this is
the sandwich shop.
Yeah,
doesn't sell bread, and you can't get bread at a Subway according to Ireland.
And it can't. What is it? It can't be labeled as bread.
Yeah, so I think it's, as with these things, it's always to do with tax. So bread has different tax than other like food products, but because of the sugar content of Subway bread, it's too high to be considered a staple. You know, that bread is like a staple part of the diet. Like, you know, like everyone should be able to buy milk and bread and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's got so much sugar in it, it can't be considered staple. Because if you were to eat it like bread, like you're probably fucking obese or something. Like diabetes would not be good for you. So they have had to change its designation, which means that Subway now have to pay VAT on their rolls.
So that means that the price of our subs are going to go up now.
Actually, I'm not sure. I think they were already taxed this way.
Oh, wow.
But they tried to argue that they're bread, and they got rejected. They got denied.
It was similar to, we had a piece of news before that Pringles are actually considered a biscuit.
Is that right?
Because
I don't remember that.
They use less than 40% potato in their recipe. So they actually, under, I don't know what kind of health and food governs or standards, they class as a biscuit, not a crisp. So the tax, I don't know, might be different on that. I'm not sure. But yeah, Pringles are not crisps.
I mean, they're a tasty biscuit in any case.
I'm fond of some flavors, D, not them all. Some of them.
Do you know what my favorite is? And I think I recently worked out why it's my favorite.
Please don't say it's the one I dislike the most.
Probably is, yeah. Sour cream and cheese, or sour cream and chive, or something like that.
Yeah.
And the reason it's my favorite, and I worked this out because I checked the ingredients, is because it contains copious amounts of MSG.
Ah, yeah.
MSG. Well, not copious.
MSG. That's a fun one, D. We should jump into that someday. We're not jumping into it today, but not inherently all bad, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Like it just sounds scary as fuck, though, doesn't it?
It's because it's 3 letters, like, you know? Yeah. MSG.
Because it's like monosodium glutamate?
Yeah.
I know what I'm talking about, guys. Anyway.
We're getting all science on the podcast today.
Also getting all sidetracked on the podcast.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
The other one, to keep on the sidetrack note, is the Jaffa cake. It's the most infamous of these, what's it classified as, because it was, by most people, considered a biscuit. I mean, I would definitely consider a Jaffa cake a biscuit of sorts.
Okay.
What's your opinion on that?
No, my opinion... And I heard a good argument for this is, my opinion is that it is a cake, for the simple reason that if you leave a biscuit out and the air gets to it, it goes soft. If you leave a cake out, it goes hard. Jaffa cakes go hard. Therefore, by and by,
go hard or they go home.
It is a cake, but I get it. It's marketed as a biscuit, like, you know. Well, it's marketed as a Jaffa cake, but it's a biscuit form, a biscuit box, a biscuit everything.
It's consumed in a biscuit way.
In a biscuit manner, yeah.
But
full moon, half moon, total eclipse, the whole thing.
You don't eat a cake like that. You don't eat a cake like full moon.
Well, see, you're about to see something very special.
I believe that's the argument they used, though, to win their VAT tax case, where they were like, "Oh no, it's a cake, so we don't have to pay biscuit tax."
No, there's loopholes everywhere, D. There's fucking loopholes everywhere. I have a bit of news I want to go on to, D. This is about rail workers. Do you hear about the rail workers who have been suspended in New York City because a man cave was found under Grand Central Station that some of the workers were using during their shifts to chill out, drink some beers, and just have a good time.
A literal man cave.
A literal man cave. So a little authorities were tipped off, and investigators from like the Metropolitan service, I don't know what it's called out there, transportation authority or something, found a wireman, a carpenter foreman, and the electrical foreman used the secret break room when they were supposed to be working. It had a fridge, a microwave, a couch, a table. I don't know if there was like a dartboard or anything in it, but it was definitely, it was prepped out as a man cave. An anonymous tipper said the workers would hang out and get drunk and party in the room. It was also a fire hazard because it was unmapped. And an MTA inspector said, many a New Yorker has fantasized about kicking back with a cold beer in a prime piece of Manhattan real estate, especially one this close to good transportation. But few would have the chutzpah to commandeer a secret room beneath Grand Central Terminal. So
now that's a word.
Chutzpah.
Chutzpah.
Yeah, that's our word for this podcast. But yeah, I think that's crazy. Like, they just found a little secret room and just decided to fill it up with like whatever they needed to kick back during the day's work and just relax. Like, credit to them. I think it's great.
Yeah, like, I mean, part of me was like, oh, they got fired for having a little chill zone. I guess when you consider they were probably like slacking off like a lot, and
I mean, just use
drunk.
it. Yeah, use it after your shift if you want. That'd be pretty cool, you know. Or like
take your lunch in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like a little secret room. Yeah, that's pretty nice. But yeah, a little piece.
They're fired.
They're fired. What about No Time to Die being delayed? Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I did.
James Bond, yeah. So it was supposed to be released November this year, and it's been postponed until, is it like April or something next year?
I think it's Easter or whatever that happens.
Yeah, so around
like
March,
break.
April, sometime around then. 2nd April, 2021 is when it's being released. There's also a podcast to go along with No Time to Die. Did you know this? There's a separate podcast that's going to be starting, or it's going to be aired alongside this. Now, I haven't got any news on that. I just seen an article about it. But there you go. But yeah, No Time to Die has been delayed from November until April of next year, just due to the whole COVID, people not being able to go.
They want people in the cinemas to watch this. Do you know Hans Zimmer is on the soundtrack for that, by the way?
Is he?
Yeah, I'm excited about that. This
is going to be a tremendous Bond movie, I think. I've liked all bar one with Daniel Craig. Quantum of Solace can go die, but all the rest of them have been pretty damn solid movies.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed him as Bond actually as well.
I heard someone else during the week tipped off as a Bond. I forget who it was.
Hardy? Tom Hardy?
No, someone else. Who was it? I can't think. It'll come back to me. It's a young dude. I forget who
Pattinson?
it was. No,
Batman on Bond.
No, it wasn't Pattinson. It'll come to me, Dave. It'll come to me. I'll get there. Have you got another piece of news that you want to discuss?
Yeah, I just got the little piece of Nick Cage news that I always try and get for every podcast.
Yeah, I love it.
It ties in. It's a bit of movie news. Chris, it's a perfect Nick Cage movie. Mm-hmm. It's called Jiu-Jitsu. It's about a team of Jiu-Jitsu. Okay. It's about a team of martial artists who fight aliens.
Oh.
And it's coming out this November.
Oh. Martial artists who fight aliens. And it's coming out this November.
Yeah. So possibly on like an on-demand kind of like online service like Disney Plus or something like that.
Oh.
But it's Nicolas Cage as the leader of a martial arts team that must defend the Earth from alien invaders via a tournament that doesn't at all sound exactly like Mortal Kombat. In doing so, he's joined by a collection of top-flight martial art actors, including Tony Jaa, Alain Moussi, and Frank Grillo.
Tony Jaa is an excellent martial artist. I watched a film with him years ago, I think, called Ong Bak.
I think
I made you watch a scene or two out of it. It's a tremendous movie, actually. Yeah.
All I remember from that is that he jumps through like a barbed
wire hoop. Yeah.
That's exactly. He jumps feet first.
Yeah, like goes
feet
through.
First.
Yeah, I know.
Why would you do that?
Because he's Tony Jaa and he can be. Yeah, if I could do it, I'd do
it. So an ancient order of expert jiu-jitsu fighters tackle some aliens to save the Earth. Starring Nick Cage. Doesn't sound ridiculous at all.
That sounds tremendous. It's and I'm really into martial arts at the minute, especially after Cobra Kai. I'm still on that high, so I'm ready for this. I'm ready for some Nick Cage beating up the aliens.
it should just meet your need for that perfectly. I don't know what the expression is whenever something meets the need perfectly for something. There's an expression for that. I don't know. I forget what it is.
I have two pieces of news, D, that are quite kind of creepy and somber, but what I might do is I might keep them to after we finish our main topic this week, so I can just kind of tie them in there. But one other piece of news is that TV chef, you know the TV chef James Martin? Do you know this guy, the English guy? He presented Saturday Morning Kitchen.
No.
You probably know him to see, but he
Probably,
has come out and said that there is a new perfect way of cooking steak. Now, I bring this news because I know you enjoy steak. I know you enjoy cooking steak from time to time. And any listeners out there that may be interested in what James Martin says is the perfect way to cook steak is to finish it off is to get, you know, the OXO
oh yeah, the
cubes?
Beyond cubes.
Yes, get a beef one and add a dusty, flavoursome coating right before the steak is about to finish cooking. And it adds just so much flavour and so much deliciousness to your meat. So, I don't know. This is what he has said. The chef told the viewers that the perfect way to finish off a steak is to sprinkle a beef OXO cube to add a dusty and flavoursome coating to the meat. It's best to season the beef with salt and pepper about 20 minutes before you start cooking to allow them to sink in. Begin by melting butter in a pan, which can then be flavored with ingredients including garlic and rosemary to taste. And once the butter is foaming, add the steak to the pan. Cook it for a couple of minutes before crumbling over the OXO cube to provide an even coating, and put it back in the heat to cook to your own preference.
It sounds a bit mad. I feel like you'd be better off putting, like, I don't know, other seasonings on there.
But have you ever been out for like a steak dinner or something, and you get just a tremendous steak, and it's a delicious kind of seasoning over the meat, and you know it couldn't just be salt and pepper, because it's
yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? So maybe he's onto something here. You know?
Maybe an OXO cube is just a quick and easy way to get that.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a steak, like a paprika and something seasoning that tastes quite good
on your spice wheel.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I've seen it when I was up. I was enjoying perusing your spice wheel.
Perusing.
yeah.
Okay, listen. I think when it comes to food, everything's worth a chat. Everything's worth a try. Like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I probably wouldn't pick up a very expensive piece of meat to try this with.
No, you're not going to go on like a £30.
No.
What's expensive cut of steak? Because I don't even know. You're the expert talking
like
shit.
I don't know if like a strip, a fillet. You're not going to get a fillet of beef and throw like this OXO cube over it and wreck it in some butter. You're just gonna just a quick piece of frying steak. Try that, or chump or rump or something like that. And skirts. Yeah, flank, strip. There's so many names for steak,
so random, like
crazy, yeah. Okay, I will keep my other two pieces of news, D, for later on in the show. If we come back to them, if we don't, it's fine. I can keep them for a different time. They're not directly linked to anything, really. But I feel that we can almost move on to the main topic if you're happy enough to go that way.
I am happy enough to go that way. I think we're about to get spooky up in this.
We're going to get spooky. Before we do, I just want to say to anybody listening to the audio versions of this podcast, if you could go ahead and do us a giant favor, and if you're listening to somewhere where you can give us a rating, it takes 2 seconds. Just click the rating. It doesn't even have to be a high rating if you don't feel that we deserve it. It's just a rating. And what that will do is it will help boost the Empty Promise podcast on these audio hosting services, basically, and get us a bit more publicity, a bit more traction, and really help us out. Exposure, D. Help us expose ourselves to the internet, on the internet. There we go. That is the perfect way of putting that. So yeah, if you could do us a solid and do that, and obviously if you're watching the video version on YouTube, just click that like button. Even click the dislike button. Who cares? Something.
Am I right?
Publicity. What's that saying? No publicity is bad.
As bad publicity.
That's the one. That's the one right there. D, I've come prepared. I've actually got myself a flask with a second coffee because I'm ready to go with. I want to hear all about this topic. And obviously, if you found the podcast, our topic at this point is the Enfield Poltergeist, the Enfield house, the Enfield haunting. What are we going to label this one day?
The Enfield haunting house of Poltergeist, London.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just before we do start on that, because I just have a mental image that I found hilarious of of you filling up a flask and someone asking you, "Oh, where are you headed off to?" You're like, "A podcast."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I filled my mug. I already had my coffee, and I was like, I'm gonna burn through this pretty quickly. I knew I was gonna be finished before the news was even over, because we riff and raff a bit before we even start. It's like, I'm gonna need something else. So
We do a bit of raff at our
and
end.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm finding it really hard to waking up today. I'm not even overly tired. I haven't been sleeping well like the past week or so, and I think I don't even know what it is, D.
It's because you're drinking coffee again.
You know what? You know what? You could be onto something there, D. Holy shit. Maybe.
Caffeine's fucking up with you.
Maybe it's just yeah, anyway, let's get into this. Let's get into this story. I swear. If you could smell this, D.
Oh, smell-o-vision. If you have smell-o-vision enabled, smell your screens now. Or your devices.
I'll do a pour. Oh.
Some ASMR on the podcast for people like pouring coffee.
Oh, smells terrific. A nice roast, that. Okay, let's go, D. Enfield.
Right.
Enfield.
Let's go back. Let's take a trip down memory lane.
Yes.
To a particularly unpleasant memory.
We're going back to the 70s here, is that right?
1977, Chris.
Good year. I think.
Was it?
I don't know. I think my parents were very, very young at that point.
It's not a bad year, I guess.
I'm pretty sure one of them told me about something in the 70s, late 70s, because they said they were very young, so they don't remember it. Maybe it was this. I doubt it was this. Anyway, go on. Let's go.
Everyone was talking about it. Yeah, we're going back to London. Kind of not a million miles away from Jack the Ripper's, area. So 100 years later, but not a million miles away from where he was operating. It struck me as this. So we're in kind of working class London, Enfield, in a little small 2 up, 2 down, or not much larger than that house.
Yeah, this is the thing that always stands out to me. Like, there's nothing special really about this house. Like, it's not like a murder house. It's not like a house that's standing on its own in like a country, a manor house or anything. It's just it's a terrace house. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not like this typical haunted house where it's like the Amityville, big, isolated up on a hill, looking menacing and weird. Just looks identical to the houses right and left of it.
A council house, an English council house.
Exactly. Yeah. In this house, we have Peggy Hodgson.
Yes.
And her 4 children. So Peggy was a recently divorced mother of 4, living in this relatively small council house with 4 kids.
Yeah.
Working in a working class area of London.
All young kids too.
Yeah, all very young kids. I think the oldest was maybe 12 or 13.
Yeah, I think 13 now.
And of these 4 kids, rather, we have 2 who kind of are like at the center of these events that we're going to talk about.
Yes.
Margaret and Janet, and we'll kind of get into them a little bit more. But let me give you a little bit of an overview of what exactly kicked off the Enfield poltergeist, as it were. It all started one night. Peggy Hodgson, single mother, 4 children, hears these loud sort of like banging noises coming from her daughter's bedroom. Daughters being Margaret and Janet. When she went upstairs to go tell her daughters off, basically for making racket in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing them playing about a bit of roughhousing, she found them huddled in the corner with a terrified expression on their faces.
Yeah.
So the 2 girls were sitting in the corner.
Yeah.
They said that Bill's bed was wobbling and that their
yeah.
chest of drawers was moving across the room.
Yeah.
So the mother obviously is a little bit skeptical of this because kids tend to play about and lie and whatnot. But as she was in the room, the chest moved.
Yeah, the chest of drawers moved. Yeah.
The chest of drawers moved right across the room. Before she had any time to sort of respond, it moved back. And it didn't move back. She kind of reacted instinctively to push it back. But found it more or less immovable.
Yeah.
So she couldn't even push this back.
Yeah.
A regular chest of drawers. And
Jesus.
It wouldn't budge. And as this was happening, all of a sudden these loud knocking sounds start to bang
Ooh.
echo throughout the house, and they're kind of difficult to pinpoint where this is coming from. It's just like bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Needless to say, this terrified Peggy Hodgson.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man.
So she runs across the street,
Mm-hmm.
goes to her neighbours, Vic and Peggy Nottingham.
Okay.
So she asks Vic, and Vic is he's described as like a builder, like a fairly big guy,
a burly
kind
builder.
of like,
Yeah.
afraid of nothing, that kind of like, you know, stereotypical English bloke kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they ask him to go across the house to check it out, and he does. He goes over to investigate.
Yeah.
And he says when he got over there, he heard the exact same strange noises coming from the house.
Yeah.
And being a builder, he kind of, well, the argument was that these aren't typical noises you'd hear from like a house settling or like, you know, like structural noises of a house. This was like very distinct,
something else. Yeah.
banging noises.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone is making these noises.
Exactly, or something.
Something. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So the next step is they call the police.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the police send out a pair of officers.
Yeah. So Vic is properly, he's scared. Like he
can't explain it. He can't explain it. So the police are called next. I mean, this is middle of the night as well.
Yeah.
Like, so it's around 1 a.m.
Yeah.
I think it actually is. It's exactly 1 a.m. when the police arrive. So 2 officers are sent out, and the police arrive, and they kind of investigate and check things out. One of the police officers actually sees something very unusual as well. Let me just get that up. Carolyn
Heaps. Yes.
Yes, a female police officer notices a chair moving about a half an inch off of the floor.
So does this mean like levitating off the floor, or moves just half an inch?
It moves half an inch off of the floor.
Off. So that's
vertically.
properly like lifts off the floor. Jesus, as
And
if someone
then
is pecking it up.
Slides 3 or 4 foot. So it moves up and over. Very small amount up and then over 3 or 4 foot. She sees this very clear as day happening and is kind of taken aback. Has a little look around to see if there's a slope in the floor. Apparently, she says she had a marble that she sat on the floor to see if it would roll. It wouldn't. Just sort of seems perfectly flat. Can't really explain that.
Yeah.
To that, she says there is no explanation for why that chair moves. But despite this, sort of seeing the strangeness, the police kind of conclude it's not a police matter because it doesn't seem that there's anyone who's in the house doing these things. It just
nobody's breaking the law as such. Yes, there's nothing.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's just strangeness happening in this house that they can't really explain.
Yeah.
So that was the first night that these kind of strange occurrences happened.
What time of year does this start, D?
This is August 4th, 1977.
Okay. Yeah.
So coming into the spooky time of year, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah. Evenings are getting shorter.
Exactly. Obviously they're a little not upset, but like surprised they didn't get any help from the police.
Mm-hmm.
So the next port of call for Peggy Hodgson is to contact the press.
The press, which is in the form of the Daily Mirror photographer. That'd be right.
That's right. Yeah. The Daily Mirror.
Yeah.
So the Daily Mirror, I don't think they have the best standing reputation.
No,
as a newspaper.
They're very tabloidy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they actually take her up on her offer to come and check the place out because of the fact that the police investigated and reported the kind of strangeness. So they wanted to find out what the source of this is. So when they arrive, there's a reporter and a photographer arrive at the house.
Mm-hmm.
No movement at the house. The house is completely silent for hours this day and just nothing there. As they were leaving, the photographer came back into the room and a Lego brick shot across the room and hit him right above the eye.
Right. And
it hit him hard enough that it actually left like a mark that was visible for the next couple of days. So like it was a proper like someone flung this thing.
Yeah. God, Lego's pretty. You don't want to get hit with Lego, like.
Lego's like sharp corners and stuff like that. This kind of convinces the photographer at least that like something weird is going on here. So in response to this, the Daily Mail decide to investigate a little bit more. They call up this group, Chris, called the Society for Psychical Research, the SPR.
The Society for Psychical? What did you say there?
Psychical, like psychical.
Like
psychology, kind of.
Okay. Research.
Very strange. I thought initially reading it was physical research, but it's psychical.
So psychological? Like a Psychological
but no.
evaluations? No?
No, like as in like
Is this like a shrink?
No, this is for all spoopy and weird, unexplainable paranormal things.
Is this a thing? Is this an organization still? Are these? Is it
To
still?
this day, the
Wow.
SPR exists. You can go on their website and they have lectures and book reviews and little pieces, essays themselves that you
Little
can read.
tidbits.
They are like I was checking out the website. It's .ac.uk, which is like that's like university and like
Yeah, it's a
academia.
properly recognized. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wow.
this group, the SPR, they sent out a guy called Maurice Gross
Yes.
or Gross,
Maurice.
and this guy I was kind of reading a little bit about this guy.
Mhm.
I was kind of surprised. He claims to have seen over 2,000 strange goings on, different incidents of supernatural activity at this residence, at the
Just
Enfield
at this one,
residence.
yeah.
And I was kind of taken aback by this. 2,000 is like, that's an incredible number. Like I can't even fathom recording and like
documenting
keeping track of
2,000.
that.
Yeah, 2,000 different. Like, but would say, for example, a curtain moves. That would probably class as one. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So some of them might be very, very minor. It doesn't necessarily state that they're 2,000 big kind of, what's the word?
Phenomenon.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
The other thing is he was there for he almost became part of the furniture at this place. He was like a semi-permanent fixture in the Hodgson's residence for the next 18 months.
Jesus.
That's how long he spent there. He says that during his stay, he describes furniture turning over, cups filling with water, fires igniting, voices, levitation.
And who did you say? Sorry, this guy was with. He's with this organization?
The SPR, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's kind of like. I actually read a little bit into him because I found him kind of interesting. He actually initially got interested into this kind of like paranormal, psychical research. I must find out what psychical actually means. A personal tragedy launched Gross into psychical research when his daughter Janet was killed in a motorbike accident in August 1976. Following her death, Gross reported that members of his family experienced a number of coincidences and psychic happenings.
That's right. That's talked a little bit about in the movie, The Conjuring 2.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah. He kind of, for personal reasons, is interested in all of this stuff, which kind of, maybe he's like a want to believe kind of a guy, particularly after having his daughter, killed at such a young age. But he's basically semi-permanent fixture of the house for the next 18 months, and across these 18 months, all kinds of weird shit starts happening.
Ooh.
Like that first night is just like an example of stuff that was like persistently happening.
Banging in the house, furniture moving, as you said there, fires igniting, levitation. Levitation's a big one, dude. Like you can't ignore fucking
levitation is kind of like that's a bit much. Like how can you possibly
that's proper like exorcism natural type of shit.
Janet Hodgson, so she kind of became a focal point of these mysterious happenings. She says the most frightening encounter that she experienced was when a curtain actually wrapped itself around her neck next to her bed, almost a strangling kind of setup. And in that incident, that was one of the more violent incidences that happened. Her mother actually had to come in and like undo this properly, to stop this from happening. Yeah, God only knows what could happen next. And this kind of like all this activity started to sort of focus on this girl, Janet Hodgson. She's only 11 at the time, by the way.
I was going to say, she's still a young girl. Like,
yeah, so she's I think she's the second eldest. And it's her and her sister Margaret. They share the room.
Mm-hmm.
So those were the ones who initially spotted all of this. But she's kind of the one who gets seems to be the center of all of this.
She drew the short straw.
Yeah, you could argue. Speaking on that, on the photographer that we mentioned before from the Daily Mirror.
Yes,
it's a guy called Morris.
Graham Morris. Yes.
Graham Morris, that's right. Yeah. So, kind of prompted by like what happened to him, he decided to set up a camera in the girl's room, that was programmed to take a photograph every 15 seconds.
This is the guy that was hit with a piece of Lego, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's sitting up in their room just constantly taking photographs to try and record any of the weirdness. Like, now, I'm sure you've probably seen some of these pictures, Chris. Like, they're very famous.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen the pictures, yeah.
One of them including the alleged levitation, where you can see Janet Hodgson about, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 feet in the air, just sort of like
it genuinely looks like she's jumping like off a bed.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
That's it. I mean, and that's a common criticism, is that she could well have just been jumping off bouncing off the bed. But in the context, it's a very spooky photograph. Like, looking at it just freaks you out, man.
Yeah.
But this was one of the things that was caught by his camera was this alleged levitation. And, like, if you haven't seen it, it'll be up on the video now, and it's probably going to be the thumbnail of this podcast.
Of this video, yeah, it's a crazy photo. Like,
yeah, it's an iconic photo as well.
I'm looking at it right now, D. It's weird.
Yeah, it is super weird.
Like she's properly screaming. Just for anybody who listens to the audio, I'll try to explain the photograph. We see 2 beds. There's the sister's obviously in the other bed, and she seems to. It looks like she is just taking a jump off the end of her bed. You know, she's kind of caught mid pose. Are you looking at the photograph here as well, D? Yeah,
I am. Yeah, I am.
She's like,
we'll have it up on screen.
Mid pose across the room, and this is supposed levitation. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I mean, to be fair, it does look like she's jumping. So, like, I'm not 100% convinced. The expression on her face.
I was going to say she
is the
seems
thing
to be
that really
screaming there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like worry, panic is definitely. Wow.
Something not normal, I think, is kind of happening to her in that photograph.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. Whether she's levitating or not, or if she's just jumping, or if she's been thrown, I don't know. Like, it's a weird photograph.
There's a secondary photograph. I'm not sure if it's like taken like a couple of seconds after. I'm not sure if you're looking at that one as well, D. It's in black and white. I know the first one we looked at there was in color, and the other sister seems to be sitting up in the bed. And this girl Janet is now in a different pose. It almost looks like she's getting into like a Superman style fucking flying pose. Now that looks a bit more levitate, like it would be harder to fake, you know, harder for her to get into that just from a jump. That's a crazy photograph as well. Again, we'll try to get these up on the screen if you're watching the video version of
this. Just freaky stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of one of the things about this, like, haunting, is the fact that there were pictures, there was like a lot of physical evidence. There were, you know, it wasn't just the account of a mother and her daughters. You know, there was that guy Vic Nottingham who came and saw. There was police officers who experienced some strange stuff. You know, there was a lot of like different accounts of people.
Yeah, the police officer that's seen the chair move, she signed an affidavit as well, describing those whole events. Yeah.
So, like, there's a lot of like recorded material about what happened here. Whether or not it's like super scientific or not is kind of a different question. Yeah. But the reason that this became such a popular case is because there were so many individual, different, separate people who all saw something. Again, the photographer as well was convinced there was something because he was hit by a piece of Lego on the head. You know, there was rather than just being the account of a person, it was verified, if you want to say that, by more people.
Yeah.
But this is not even like the weirdest part of the story. Like, you know, it's been pretty crazy so far. Things moving, knocks, people seeing our girl being thrown across the room.
Like it's one thing, D, when someone says like a house or a place or whatever is haunted, and it's haunted by, you know, maybe a ghost or sightings. But whenever that it takes the form of like this poltergeist where things are moving, furniture is moving. I mean, there's levitation. You know, it seems like it can actually cause harm to the people in the house.
Yep.
That's when it gets like just way too spooky for my liking.
And remember as well, like, Janet described having a curtain wrapped around her neck at one point. Like, that's very
doing harm. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So very strange stuff. But yeah, as I say, it gets stranger still. Starting in December 1977, this poltergeist or demon begins to speak.
Oh boy!
And this is absolutely bizarre. But
yeah,
again, all of this is focused around the the daughter Janet Hodgson,
Mm-hmm.
who's again only 11 years old.
Yeah.
She begins experiencing violent trances and like kind of like things like sort of something comes over her. She's in this like trance state.
Mm-hmm.
She claims soon spread that she's levitating or being flung or moved by this entity. Sounds such as whistles and dog barks seem to be coming from her, although her mouth is closed. So like there's
Yeah.
like whistles and like noises, growls and
Yeah.
stuff escaping from her closed mouth. As time went on, these sounds developed into a gruff, masculine voice. So now there's a voice that's actually
Yeah.
physically coming from her.
Yeah.
Gross determined it was a poltergeist, so he tried to develop a connection with this entity.
Yeah. So
by
it's clear.
actually
It's
speaking
clear now.
with her.
She is not making these sounds. Like she is not making these noises herself.
Well, yeah, she's not opening her mouth. She's not moving her lips.
It's a very good ventriloquist.
It's a very good act by an 11-year-old girl doing a gruff masculine voice and dog barks and whistles and whatnot. So it seemed like it's obviously very, very strange. Have you ever seen The Exorcist? Like this is the type of shit we're talking about now.
Oh
like,
yeah,
this is where this
that real demonic voice. Yeah, scares the shit out of me.
The guy, Maurice Gross, convinced it's a poltergeist, believes he can speak with it and he can communicate with it, and he sets up recordings and interacts with Janet in this trance-like state. And in these sessions, they actually were able to communicate with this apparition somehow. The voice was speaking. It said his name. It didn't say his name. It said the name of Maurice Gross. Sort of responded to him. He asked him questions about what it was. The voice claimed it was the ghost of a man named Bill Wilkins.
Bill Wilkins.
Bill Wilkins, who had died in the very same house years before.
Yes.
It was actually later proven that a man by the name of Bill Wilkins was once a resident of that house and did in fact die of a hemorrhage while sitting in the living room.
Oh man. Yeah.
So I mean, how did Janet,
we're now
11 years old, know of this?
Yeah, we're adding facts to what's actually going on here. Like,
it was actually his son, Bill Wilkins' son, confirmed the status, like what had happened to his father, and about how he died in that living room.
Yeah.
The ghost would reportedly like speak through Janet for like up to hours at a time. So it wasn't just like kind of like momentary lapses. It was like full sessions, extended periods of time where it's speaking through her body. Like just fucking weird. Like this just creeped me the fuck out. The spirit of Bill would sing nursery rhymes and talk through Janet for hours.
Yeah.
Singing nursery rhymes from a ghost.
Yeah.
Or from a what?
Yeah. Yeah, there's something not quite right there, D.
He also claimed to be living in the house. This is the poltergeist, the apparition, claimed to be living in the house and sleeping in Janet's bed.
Yeah. Yeah. Jesus Christ, D. Jesus. Like you hear that, like you pack up your things and you get out of town quickly. You know.
Yeah, you don't stay in the house.
But I know not necessarily an easy thing to do. Single mother, 4 young kids, middle of England.
Don't really have the resources just to pack up and leave necessarily.
No, exactly. Oh my goodness.
Tape recordings were made of these encounters. And to eliminate the possibility that Janet was faking the voice, Gross taped up Janet's mouth, like actually taped her up. And another time filled her mouth with water, so like that she could not be like
she couldn't speak, or else she would have spewed the water out. Yeah, exactly.
Or even she couldn't even ventriloquist, like speak through her throat because her like mouth was full of water.
Yeah.
A microphone was placed behind her, and it picked up a sound that was louder than her normal voice. So something that was louder than how she normally speaks, coming from behind her. Kind of. This is the evidence that Gross tried to accumulate to prove that this was not just her faking it, essentially.
Yeah.
A speech therapist then also analysed the tapes, but was unable to say where the sound was coming from or how it was sustained. So, unable to say if it was coming from her or not. We do have some of these audio recordings that we're going to actually play on here. And, like, I've listened to most of this, and it's weird. And like I listened to it at about 12:30 last night for the first time, and I had to stop about 30 seconds because I was like, it's too fucking freaky.
Yeah.
I have to sleep tonight, for crying out loud.
Good. Okay. So this is your warning now, anybody listening to the podcast or watching this. We're going to play some of the recordings for you. These are actual recordings taken from the house. This isn't anything that was fake years later. This is what was taken from the house during the investigation. So what you're about to hear now then is the actual recordings taken. Sorry, just before we start, who took these recordings? This was Gross.
Maurice Gross took these recordings.
Gross. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So I'll just move it back to 109. So this is the spirit speaking for an extended period of time.
Okay.
Right, that's good. I'm 72 years old. I come from Jurong graveyard, and I have right near the church where Rita lives. And all my friends come from there as well. And we all make a game and go to the pub, and then we pick your house, because I used to live here. And I will tell you some more, and if you don't tell anyone else, just let Mr. Crook and Mr. Playback.
That's some terrifying shit,
Yeah, that's bizarre. Like,
there's just no way that has come from an 11-year-old girl. You know,
I wish I had like a transcript of what was actually said, because it's very difficult to hear what's been said.
Yes,
I do have another clip, Chris, of him asking a question and getting a response. I might play that as well.
Yeah, by all means. Yeah. It'd be nice if they had subtitles on the actual clip. But I mean, you can clearly make out it's a man's voice. It is not an 11-year-old girl's voice. There's something communicating through her.
Creepy voice there, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play another clip then of this is Maurice Gross asking. Conversing essentially with the demon, with the poltergeist, asking him to say his name, and he responds.
Come on, let me hear you say my name. That's not my name. Come on, my name's Morris. Let me hear you say it. Morris. Say Dr. Belloc. Come on, let me hear you say that. Come on, let's hear you say Dr. Belloc. Could you close that door down? Say Dr. Belloc. What is it? Can I just hold that one up? Now, if you squeak the bed, I can't hear you talking. Now, say Dr. Belloc. Come on. Come on, say it for me, Dr. Belloc. Dr. Belloc.
Ooh.
Some weird stuff, man.
That's creepy shit. So basically, this guy Maurice is saying he was communicating with him. They're saying, "Say Dr. Bill." He asked first of all, what was his name?
Dr.
Is that
Burlock
right?
or something?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So he asked, he basically Heisenberg, say my name.
Say my name.
And he took him a while, but yeah, eventually did say Maurice, and then said Dr. Burlock, and then it took a long time, and then eventually Dr. Burlock. I don't actually know who that Dr. Burlock is, or what the voice was.
And that was taken from the house, D. Yeah. Holy shit. Imagine hearing that coming from like your 11-year-old daughter in this house.
Just not even
chills, D. Literal chills. Oh my goodness, that's just not something you want to be dabbling with, you know.
No, Chris. No, it's not something you want to be dabbling with. But that's what it is, man. It's fucked up.
Yeah. And then where did it go then? Like, surely this was enough evidence to prompt, like, did they consider like exorcism? Did they consider, or what was done with this evidence then?
Well, this is a weird thing, Chris. So this guy Maurice claims to have over 2,000 incidents. That's what he said. And he was staying with them for like him and another guy. Actually, I should mention as well. Leon Playfair, which is probably maybe that's what they were saying. Say Dr. Playfair, but I'm not sure. He was a poltergeist expert. They kind of just sat. They just kind of monitored. Like that's all they were really there to do, was to kind of collect the evidence and to monitor, like the events. Like it really didn't really lead anywhere.
So they didn't approach like the Catholic Church or anything, or seek priests, or like the normal kind of fare you hear with these stories.
Seemingly not. I mean, I haven't been exhaustive in the research on this, but
no,
there was no evidence of that. Like it is bizarre to me that they stayed in the house throughout this. They did. There had to be a way to find some help to get out of there, but they stayed in the house. And like as events got worse, like and more violent, like fires started going off.
I heard that there was I read that there was like proper furniture, like sofas and couches and seats that would levitate and spin in rooms. Like that's
like when stuff like that starts happening, you have to really start to question why you're staying there. But no, like the SPR guys, Maurice and Playfair, Gross and Playfair, kind of just monitored, and they were there a lot. So as we said, kind of became semi-residents of the house because they were there that frequently to kind of monitor. And
did they call anybody else in then to this investigation?
So there were other notable kind of paranormal investigators. I mean, and the one that like kind of, it was the whole concept of that movie, The Conjuring 2, Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yeah, that's right.
So they did come in a little bit later on. I think it was the following year that they came in to investigate and kind of offer their thoughts and opinions on it. And they were convinced it was something. It was a demon of some description.
Supernatural,
yeah. They were very convinced of that. Although they didn't actually spend like as much time on the residence as the kind of you would probably think based on the movies that have been made about it and stuff. They were really just sort of in to investigate and made their conclusions and then left. And it was this guy Gross and Playfair who were kind of like constantly there, writing down their memoirs, and like they're absolutely convinced of the opinion that it was something very supernatural. I think there were others as well, sort of lesser known paranormal investigators who weren't as convinced that it was something paranormal for sure. So I'll probably get to that in a little bit, but there are like a lot of like skepticism
surrounding the case. I've read about this. So
we'll probably get to that whenever we kind of wrap up with the story of the haunting.
Of the haunt.
I mean, you've heard probably the creepiest part about it was the voices and the speech from this guy Bill Wilkins who died in the house, speaking to everyone through Janet. As we mentioned, the trances were coming more like violent. We mentioned about her neck getting tangled in a curtain, and her mother having to sort of intervene in that case, sort of protect her. Also, so for most of the haunting, like the focus was on Janet, but also her sister Margaret started to speak with the same sort of harsh tone, the same harsh voice.
Right. Okay. So it wasn't just speaking through Janet now. It moved, right. Less
frequently, and it was sort of towards the end of the events.
Okay.
That this started happening. But like things, weird shit just kept happening. Small fires would start and then extinguish themselves without causing any damage. So there would be like the visual, like you could see fire, but then it would just stop, and there was no like burnt damage as a result of that. Messages started to appear on the walls, so like writing on the walls.
This is Amityville type stuff now.
Various apparitions, doors would open and close on their own. The iron frame of a built-in fireplace was wrenched from the wall.
Okay.
So
So
The frame of a fireplace was just ripped off the wall.
Yeah. Okay. So what 11-year-old girl is going to be able to do that?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ongoing knocking was one of the most chilling aspects of the case. So remember the knocking, that's where it all started with those moving furniture, and there's this knocking coming throughout the house.
Yeah.
Apparently it would run down the wall, fading in and out as it apparently played with the family. As if it was a game. Fucking hell.
No. You have to get out of that house at this point, D. You know, you can't be
There's no
waiting.
way. Yeah, you're not sleeping well with this shit going on. You're not living a good life with this shit going on. Man.
No. And approaching Christmas as well. Jesus.
That's to say, like, all this stuff happened. Like, it happened right the way throughout the next year, and then on into late 1978.
Yes. Jesus. This is a long investigation. Like, what do you say? This is like 18 months?
18 months.
Jesus. So they stayed in the house for 18 months.
Yeah, they stayed in the house the whole time. In 1978, the activity started to quieten down.
Okay.
So sort of almost without no reason, it just started to quieten down. It didn't ever end, so it never stopped. It just became less frequent, or less frequent. Peggy, the mother, avoided publicity on the matter, like throughout the rest of her life, but because she never changed her opinion about what happened and what she experienced. She stood by the fact that all of this happened and what happened to her daughter. She never went back and said like, oh, it wasn't so bad or anything like that. So she stood by what had happened.
Mm-hmm.
She stayed in the house. Right? She stayed in the house, claiming she could still feel the presence of the poltergeist until her death in 2003.
Jesus Christ!
Now that is bizarre to me.
Yeah. Oh my!
Like that's some Stockholm syndrome type shit where like you're almost too scared to leave.
Compelled to stay.
Stayed in the house.
Maybe something was keeping her there. You know.
I don't know about any of that, but I was just confused as fuck by that.
Why would you stay?
Why would you stay?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why would you stay?
This
is what these like spirits and things do. They like keep you. You know. They like they get into your mind, they get into your brain, your thought patterns and shit, and they just
hook into you. But
yeah, they
latch on to you.
Yeah, exactly. They latch on like leeches.
Now, Chris, so that was the haunting of Enfield up until 2003. Essentially, like it never stopped quite, but it did like quieten down after Peggy's death in 2003. Yes. Yeah. Not knowing the entire history of the house, Claire Bennett and her 4 sons, which I just thought was strange. Another mother with 4 children.
4 sons.
Moves into the house. Now, Claire Bennett claims she felt uncomfortable but didn't see anything during her time.
Mm-hmm.
But her sons started to wake up to the sound of voices in the night.
Okay.
And when one of her sons saw a man come into his room, they moved out the very next day.
There you go. That's what you do.
Yeah,
you get out. You get out of the fucking house. Jesus
Christ. That was. I don't actually have the year that happened, but it was after Peggy's death, 2003. So around the 2003 mark. Another case of a separate family who didn't even know the entire history of the house.
Yes, exactly.
Same thing happened, and they weren't just out of Dodge.
Yeah, they didn't play on the whole history of the thing. They knew nothing of it. Moved in. Oh, yeah, because these type of things you don't have to make public, as far as I know.
Yeah, I remember hearing a story about this over in America.
Yes, I know what you're. Yeah. I heard the same story from Strange Uncles.
Strange Uncles, yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But I thought that was bizarre. It's like you don't like in some states, like they have like this is in law. In some states, you don't have to mention like weird shit that's happened on the property.
Yeah, if there was like a murder house, you don't have to disclose that information. You know
exactly. Yeah.
Why is the house going so cheap? It's just a good deal. You know. In
some states, you do, which I think is even more incredible because some states have been like, oh no, like weird shit happens at houses and people have a right to know, and then other states are like, no, you don't need to know. I don't know what the case is over here.
Where do you stand on that? Just quickly, like, do you believe that people should be informed of this stuff that went on?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's up to that person to decide, the one who's like going to move in. Like, do I believe in that stuff or not?
Isn't that like the freedom of information though? Like, you should, sure that plays into it.
I suppose, but you've got a right to know. Information is more like it's more like government and like corporations.
No.
to find out what they're up to, because like, you know, I wouldn't have the freedom of information to say like you need to tell me what you did last Saturday or last Friday. You know?
I was with you, D.
Yeah, it's a convenient alibi. But you know what I mean? Like, I think
true.
if it's a, you know, I don't really know though, to be honest.
That's weird, man. I don't know what it is here, but getting back to that, like, it's just weird for another mother and 4 kids, no male presence, you know, no kind of father figure in the house, moves into the house, and the mother doesn't experience anything, but all of a sudden one of her boys sees what was it, a man come into their room,
coming into the room. Yeah,
Jesus Christ! Every time I think about that day, I just get like a chill over me, like, oh, that's too much for me. Like, they do the right thing though. They do what you're screaming at the TV in horror movies to do. Just get out of the house, you know. Most horror movies would only be like 20 minutes long.
But I get that as well. I mean, sometimes it's not feasible just to like get out and leave, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, after your daughter starts speaking from a demon, you get the fuck out.
So whatever became then of Janet? Like, did she live? She obviously just lived with this for the rest of her life. Was she ever affected by it, or do we know anything?
Yeah, there actually isn't much on her, in the current day. But she did do a couple of interviews over the years where she kind of they stood by and defended their statements and basically said, yeah, it's all true, like we didn't lie or we're making it up. And that it has affected them to this day. Like, I mean, it obviously has left its trace.
Yeah.
But there's very little like information that I could find in the bit of research I did do here about what happened in the interim, you know, between growing up and moving out of the house and whatever happened in her life after that. But it left its impression, and both her and Margaret stand by the events. The events
of what happened. Yeah. Jesus.
It's bizarre stuff, and like there's a lot of
Poltergeist scare the shit clean out of me, D.
They're the freakiest one, man.
Yeah.
Ghosts are weird, but like they're mainly benevolent, I think. Like,
but I mean, then there's another step up. You go from like a poltergeist to like demonic, and that's just a whole other fucking kettle of fish. Like, but yeah, poltergeist, when things start moving and levitating and like you're starting to see fucking figures in your room at night that aren't actually there, and something's tying you up with a curtain around your throat.
You're levitating. Fires writing on the wall, like
levitating,
so much stuff.
I can't even fathom what it would be to witness someone levitating. I don't even know how I would respond to that. Like, you know,
I would freak out. I would just be like, "What the fuck?" I don't know, someone I didn't care about, like not that I don't care about, but like someone who like I'm not that attached to, I would fucking leg it. I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm not fucking touching it.
Nope.
Because if I go over and try and help you, this thing is gonna fucking
and I start levitating. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I just that's something else, D. And the worst part is it's just a seemingly normal house as well, you know. Mm-hmm. It just came from obviously the history, like this Bill man who used to live here, who obviously died in the house, and his spirit or his soul or whatever didn't move on or couldn't move on or what have you, and it's just decided to take its revenge, maybe out on, I don't know, families.
It didn't seem particularly what's the word I'm looking for, malevolent. Like, it didn't seem vicious. There were some violent things that happened, but at the same time he was also singing nursery rhymes and like chatting and talking about his story, you know, like there wasn't
true. I guess it's how we perceive those things, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, if I heard like an old man singing nursery rhymes in my house,
it's just the freakiest thing ever. Like, fuck that, I'm gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Before we do kind of tie up the story,
mm-hmm.
I think probably it's worth mentioning some of the criticisms.
Yes,
the skeptics.
Is this about how it was claimed that it was faked by the girls?
So like, not everyone comes in on the same page as like that guy. Gross and
Maurice
like not everyone comes in on the same page as him, because I mean that was one thing we mentioned as well. Like, he had like a little bit of a wanting to believe way about him because of what happened to his daughter.
Exactly.
But at the same time,
and his daughter was called Janet as well. Remember?
I know, that's so weird.
It's a weird thing, like.
So he could have had a particular attachment to Janet Hodgson.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is, I think to his credit, like he seemed to approach things with a fairly scientific way.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, he tried to record. He tried to prove it was. You know, he filled her mouth with water to prove that she wasn't like making the noises herself.
He did his best to disprove any.
To remove any doubt.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And there was the the camera that was taking pictures every 15 seconds. They obviously went to a lot of effort to try and like document all of this as much as they possibly could.
Yes.
Rather than just sort of say, "Oh yeah, it's haunted because this happened and this happened." Like they tried to get recordings and they tried to get photographic proof, and they documented all of the events that were happening. So
yeah,
like I think that gives it a bit of credit that way. Also, the fact that I think all in all about 30 different people attest to seeing something in this house. So
that's a lot of people to kind of go against all at once. 30 people. It's different if 1 or 2 people, but 30 people is a lot of people.
Yeah, and some of those people, like it's not like they were attached to the situation. Like there was the photographer who was just coming to check.
Yeah, the police officers coming in to do their job. Who
exactly. The next door neighbor who just was coming to try and console someone in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when you have like a lot of different angles coming at it, like that kind of gives it a little bit of credibility as well. Particularly when you compare it to like, some events where it's just like all you have is the word of one person. Like think about Amityville, where it was.
It was just the word. It was just the word of the Lutz family.
Yeah, or it was even just the sole survivor of the Lutz family, right? It was the guy.
Oh, that was no. The Lutzes were the ones who moved in, and the people who lived there before were the it's not DeFagos or it's something. It's a funny name.
Yeah, but like when you have lots of different opinions, I think that like gives it a bit of credibility, I guess.
Yeah.
But still, despite all this, a lot of people kind of claim that the children were behind basically this. That it was a
prank.
Janet and her sister Margaret kind of pulling a prank and making these voices and faking all of the things. I mean that doesn't tally up with why the mother claimed to have seen it, because I don't think she would have been on board for this kind of a prank that involves the police and the media and 18 months of another strange man being in your home,
living in your home. Yeah, and it's a hell of a prank to pull off when you think about it. When you think of like the voices that we heard and the furniture moving, levitating, nursery rhymes, banging, like it's a long time to keep up a prank. The
information as well about Bill Winters, who like they knew that how he died and where he died essentially. Like I don't know how the kids would have found that out.
Yeah.
But it's possible that they definitely could have found that out from somebody and just used it as like the source of their little game.
Maybe.
Critics continue to criticize the investigation, kind of focusing on Gross and Playfair, saying that that they did their best, but like there isn't enough hard evidence. Yeah, exactly. What doesn't help things is the fact that Margaret and Janet were caught a couple of times tricking, like actually genuinely lying about
moving things themselves, bending spoons, making. I read that they were using like a dust broom to like bang against like cameras and things like that. Yeah, I read about that. That doesn't help the whole situation along whatsoever.
No. So Gross and Playfair conceded that they were aware that they knew that sometimes Janet and Margaret tried to like trick them, kind of playing with them. But they were insisting that these were very few occasions this actually happened, and claimed that when they did trick them, they were quickly caught. Like it was obvious that it was it was not a genuine.
I think at that point though, it really doesn't matter if you catch them or not, or if it was just the one time. Once it comes up once that the girls have been doing this, you lose a lot of credibility for your in your research.
It's boy who cried wolf right there. It's like
that's exactly what
happened
is.
Once.
Yeah.
And they were caught by other people as well. So a video camera was found the girls bending spoons, yeah, as you mentioned, and attempting to bend an iron bar, kind of more evidence of what the guy was up to. Janet even claimed once in an interview when she was young that, someone said to her about the house being haunted, and she claimed that it wasn't haunted. And soon after, or right after, Margaret, her sister, would like sort of in a hushed tone say, "Don't say that.
Right.
Shut
up." Okay.
So, like, definitely the girls, probably with like all the media attention, were playing it up. I don't doubt that. I don't know if it's enough to kind of just.
But you think, why in the first place? Just why? Why would you start something like this? What have you got to gain from this?
And why would your mother go ahead with it?
Exactly, like your mother of all people would. Why would she go ahead with it? Why would she let so much media get involved?
To play the devil's advocate, Chris, maybe that's what the purpose was to get the media involved, get a bit of attention.
Publicity, stories, sell their story. Yeah. As we said, it's a single mother living in England. Times are maybe tough. Yeah.
I don't know if they did make any money off of this, Chris. Like, I don't have any reports of books that they certainly never wrote any books themselves. There were other people who wrote books about this, including a Playfair, I believe, wrote a book about this.
Okay.
And obviously a lot of other people have made money off of this phenomenon.
It's like we talked like last week. It's Betty and Barney Hill. They were people who seemed to be very wanting to stay out of the public eye. They never wanted to really publicize their story. Whereas the media got involved very quickly. Investigators from all around the world, actually. When you're taking Ed and Lorraine Warren into it, they're the big dogs,
But they were convinced, Ed and Lorraine Warren were convinced.
True.
But maybe that's in their benefit for them to have another case of, we went and found out.
Solve this one,
yeah. But I'm most confident with the fact that this Gross and Playfair guy, after 18 months of being there, that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
And he obviously got very familiar with the girls and the family. And at the end of all of it, they stand by, like, I think I have their quote. They believe that, even conceding the fact that some of the alleged poltergeist activity was faked by the girls, they believe that the other incidents were genuine. Like, they're convinced of it. So, I mean, this is ghost stories for you. This is weird shit. It can't be verified. It can never be verified. Like,
no,
beyond a reasonable doubt, I suppose.
The house still stands today, though. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you, actually. I'm not sure where it stands. The last bit of information I have about it was Claire Bennett and her sons fleeing it the day after a man walked into his room.
Jesus Christ.
It's so weird. If anyone who has been interested in this story at all, I would say right after you finish listening to this, go and listen to the full recordings of the demon or the poltergeist speaking, because it's weird shit, but it's weird in a good way, because you're gonna kind of get those shivers up your arm, like it's gonna freak you out.
Yeah, there was also a series came out was it last year or the year before on Netflix, just called the Enfield Hauntings, where they break down the whole investigation. It's like a 2 or 3 part series. You should definitely watch that as well. I'm just trying to find out if there's anything on the actual Enfield house today.
It's
see if it still stands or what.
It's kind of like, as well, you said about it being like just a completely normal house. Like, it's just like it's just in a row of houses. I think, I'm not sure if it was the end house or not, but it's just a regular looking house. The only strange thing about it is that guy Bill Winters died in the living room.
Yeah, it's still standing today, Eddie. It's still there. It doesn't say whether anybody's in it, but there's a picture of it there. It's just a very, very normal. It's 284 Green Street, Brimsdown, Enfield. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's still there. I don't know if you want to go visit it. Might be something.
If you were looking to make money out of this whole thing, like if that was the whole point, like I mean, it could have easily like turned that into like a museum or into like a come visit the haunted house of Enfield or something.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
She decided, or Peggy Hodgson lived in that house till she died. So like, I don't know.
I'd like to know if you can visit the house, if you can walk into it or something. That'd be pretty cool. Special podcast coming from Janet's room.
Oh man, I wouldn't even. No way.
Nah. You
That'd freak me the fuck out.
you pick up too much shit, D. We'd never be the same again.
No.
Uh.
It would latch onto us. We'd take it home with us.
D, that's a hell of a start to spooky season, you know. An Enfield haunting. That's
It's a
some
good one.
fucked up shit, man. Like, it's as well that when the other family, Claire Bennett, moved in, and your son reports seeing a man come into his room.
No.
No.
Bye-bye.
Levitation is
Bye-bye.
what I'm out. You know, talking in like demonic forms, things taking like a hold of you. No, absolutely not.
There's not, Chris. There's not much of it where I would still be like. There's not much of it where I would stay. Like furniture moving, and I'm pretty much already out the door. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Here's my lease. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Go stay with anybody. You know, just move in next door with the neighbors if you have to. Sleep on the floor.
no, Chris,
sleep in your car.
Because then you bring it with you, man. Then you bring it with you.
Yeah,
like,
true.
Things get bad. Like,
True. I know. Well, thank you for bringing that story to our attention this week, D. I think I speak for everybody, and especially with the audio, the actual audio recordings, because that's enough to fuck anybody up. And I hope somebody is listening to this podcast at night, and now you can't sleep.
If you're listening to this podcast on the 9th of October at night, let us know, because you win a prize.
Yeah, you do. You win an all expenses paid trip to the Enfield house.
We don't get the funds for that, Chris. You win a Haribo Star Mix.
Yeah,
that's what you win.
That was great, D. Thank you for bringing that. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed knowing, and now it's just something else that I know about.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's a freaky story.
I don't know if I necessarily want to know about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. When you start reading up about it, and like we said, you have the actual tapes to follow up on if you want to go and watch those. You have the documentary as well, and then you have the Hollywood movie, The Conjuring 2, which it's a great movie. Like, it's a great series. The whole Conjuring series is great, but it in particular scared the absolute shit out of me when I went to see it in the cinema. It still does. It's a good movie, you know, to go watch that.
That's your homework.
Yeah, you've seen The Conjuring 2?
Yeah.
That's
great.
Good. Okay, D. Time to move on.
I think so. Yeah. Time to like shake off the spooky boopies and
shake off the spook. Yeah, I tell you what I'm going to do is those 2 bits of news that I had, D. I'm going to keep them for a different time. It's not the time for this news now. I think we need to get a bit more lighthearted. You know, I don't feel that this is a good time to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and just close those tabs. I think we can do what everybody really came here for yet again. We have community questions this week.
We know why you're here.
We know why you're here. Oh, if you've used the timestamps, you're very welcome.
Oh fuck! We'll do an intro this week, Chris.
We can
do an intro last week. We didn't. I promise.
We can do that at the end. But if you've used the timestamps, hello and welcome. You're very much welcome here. Community questions. Firstly, before we start, I just want to say a massive thank you from us to you guys for submitting your questions this week. It propels the show along so much each and every week when we get your questions. You can get in contact with us. Instagram and Twitter are probably the 2 easiest ways to do so. Facebook is also there under the handle Empty Promise Podcast. Our email, which is
emptypromisepodcast@gmail.com.
At gmail.com. You can get us there, or just get in direct contact with either D or myself with a question. Something I want to say as well is we see an awful lot of people who follow us, who keep up to date with our stories and things. You can submit a question and we can keep it 100% anonymous as well. Just, you know, that's not an issue if you don't want like your name read out and things like that. I know people can be a bit weird with that kind of stuff.
Depends, Chris. Someone might make a freedom of information request.
Well, that's very true. If they make that request, I mean, you're on your own.
We will go to the grave defending the privacy of our users.
100%.
Users, our listeners.
1 second. There we go. I just need to get my heater back on.
It's getting chilly.
It's getting a little bit chilly up here. It's fucking awful outside, D. Okay, question number 1 this week, D, comes from Jolly Bearded Promotions.
Ah, terrific.
It is a simple question. It is a 1-word question. Pint? Question mark.
Aye, go on.
Go on. I mean, if you're buying, I would 100% love to. Always love to, and I know Dee would catch up with people who keep up with the show on a weekly basis. I don't know about yourself, Dee, but I am partaking in the sober festivities. That is Sober October. So
Yeah.
I apologize that we will not be available for pint drinking.
Probably a 95% chance that I will do Sober October inadvertently with no intention to do it because I just don't be out much drinking.
Well, that's it. Like I would be the same. I'm not a big drinker by any means, but I will not be partaking in a whiskey or bourbon or two this year while watching. Oh, it's so heartbreaking, Dee, because when I watched The Haunting of Hill House, I like to relax with a little whiskey while watching it. Just kept the nerves just balanced nice and easy. But this year there will be none of that, unfortunately. So
you can always do Sober November or Sober December, Sober January. Really, any month. Really,
yeah. There's no
any 30-day period. Really, would be 30. Fine.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for the question, but I don't think that we will be having anything this month. If you want to get in contact with us with that question again towards the end of the month. And maybe we can arrange something. It'd be nice to go for a drink with a couple of people who listen to the podcast on a regular day. I think we always got to build that community.
As long as they're buying.
Okay, second question comes from Ariane Davis. Who's smarter, funnier, better looking? Not trying to split you up, but I want to test the bond of the empty promise.
Right here.
Yeah, I mean, you got it.
It's right here.
There's
absolutely full package. That's what they call me.
There's no question in doubt that Dee is the smarter of the two of us. 100%.
Whoa! What's this? What? There was 3 things there, Chris. It's a full package.
Oh yeah. But the first, Dee is without doubt the smarter of the two of us. He is without doubt. I stand by that. Dee, you're probably. I'd say you're up there as probably the smartest of all my acquaintances
in the world, maybe.
Possibly. We
don't know for sure.
I definitely think you're smarter. The funniness, we have to bounce off each other.
I'm not funny. I'm not funny without someone who's funny. That's a fact.
You actually got complimented by another listener this week. There's no question from her, but she actually said that your humor was very dry and witty, and it bounced off well on the podcast.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I think you're a funny person. You make me laugh.
You see, this is it though. I know I'm not a particularly funny person unless I'm with somebody funny.
Really?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I can't just sit there and think of funny things. Like, nothing's funny to me. But then when I'm talking to someone who could find like a bit of humor in basically anything, as with you, basically everything's funny, right?
Yeah.
And then it's much easier.
I don't class myself as a funny person either. I just think I'm goofy.
Goofy's a good description actually for both of us, I think.
Yeah,
I
think we're two goofy, silly guys. Yeah. And Dee, from you have grown like this goatee that you have going. Mm-hmm. You're just an incredibly attractive man, Dee.
I won't stand by that because I was thinking this today. I have very little effort that I will devote to my appearance, particularly in the last year because I haven't needed to go anywhere. Dee, so I basically live in a constant state of disarray.
Dee, you've went from a 10 in my books to you're easily sitting at a 12, 13 now.
I don't disagree with that, Chris.
It's the goatee, man. It's the goatee.
The reason the goatee exists is because I only ever shaved because I had to go to work and look presentable, and now I don't have to go anywhere. So
it suits you very much, so Dee.
Thank you, Chris. It's very ginger, isn't it? I don't like that. I wish it was
to
darker.
Me right now, it kind of looks a good bit darker, but you're quite fair haired. You're fair haired. What color are your eyes, Dee?
Blue, Chris.
Yeah, you're fair haired and blue eyed. It's. What's
you had to ask that question. Your eyes look blue, but I know they're brown.
Do they look blue?
Yeah, not anymore. Just the way the light was hitting you, Chris.
They're very much brown. Yeah. He knows my eye color.
Yeah, no, because I feel you put a lot of you pay a lot of attention to your looks because you look damn good.
You're
always in getting the bop chopped with me and man.
I mean, I gotta keep up with my baba.
You're bringing in the fashion. I see the pictures of you at the communion. You're looking dapper.
Thanks.
Or dapper,
Thanks,
whatever
Dee.
the word.
You see,
You know,
D's just a compliment guy, you know. D will always compliment you.
this comes naturally to me.
No, I think I used to pay a lot more attention. I do. I mean, yeah, I pay fairly regular attention to my appearance, but I have.
You look after yourself, Chris.
That's it. Like, yeah. It's
Remember,
manscaping. That's what it is. No,
don't forget
grooming.
don't forget our sponsor, Caldera Labs.
Caldera Labs, yeah.
Yeah.
No, 20% off if you use discount code Empty Promise Podcast at checkout. It's the #1 serum for men, coming from completely whole organic products. You know.
Yeah.
Use
Steaming for men.
Use it
serum
right.
for men.
Use it right now. Right, moving on. Thank you for the question, but you will not. You gotta do harder to test this bond. All right.
A much better question to ask us if you want to split us up is blue or green. Evidently,
Yeah.
we genuinely argued about that last week.
By the way, I put a poll up on the Instagram. Green one. It just won.
Instagram is such a weird place. So weird, everybody.
Question number 3. Now I like this one. This one comes from user Alana Daily 6. You can make one of your body parts detachable without any negative repercussions. What body part would it be and why?
I don't know. The head, maybe. If you could just like ship your brain somewhere cheaply on the cheap.
I think maybe my arms.
I think arm would be one of the better ones because like I don't know why you'd want to, but like say you needed to reach something, right? Okay. Oh, here's a question: is the detached body part like still like if I detached my arm, my right arm, could I hold my right arm in my left arm and reach something really far away?
Yeah, because it says without any negative repercussions. So I'm assuming that it still works. It still functions as a limb.
That's like one case. Like I think that's a pretty good one.
Oh, maybe my eyes. I would take one out and put one on the back of my head, D. And then I'd have like 360.
Sorry, Chris. I don't think eyes. I think it's eye if you want to do it. I'm not gonna let you get away with that. Both eyes are not one body part. But think about it, if you did your head, you could just go like lift it up, and now you can see from an extra 2 to 3 foot taller.
That's very true. Or I could put my head somewhere else.
Exactly.
It could just be my head here. Like you could just see this, you know, like from here down. I don't know why.
So your head is doing the podcast, but your body's off making dinner.
But body's off inside. It's like having those extra limbs, those extra appendages that we once discussed.
The 8.
Yeah, 8 extra octopus tentacles. It'll be fantastic. I think getting back to the question, I think I'd probably choose my arms as the appendage.
I think I'm gonna go with head. I think I'm gonna go if I could attach my head and I could like kind of like float it about and leave it places and stuff. I think that'd be useful.
Fair enough. It's a good question. I mean, I had to think about it. Not at length, I'll admit, but
no.
Let me see, because I'm reading through these the way that we got them sent to us. Okay, question. This is a good one. This one comes from Gav_the main man on Instagram, which main man barber and grooming. Gentlemen, it's spooky season. Any local true ghost stories for the fans?
Ooh. We should do a podcast on that. We should go into depth on that one for sure.
I started thinking about D if there was anything that kind of hit us over the years, like our spookiest kind of stories. And I'll not, maybe if we're going to do a full episode on it, I'll not delve in too much because it could be good to bring these up on an actual episode. But a couple of the things I thought about were, I remember being told years ago about the Devil's Bridge. Remember the Devil's Bridge?
Yeah, right off the Devil's Bridge.
It's definitely one. So you can hear me, okay? Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of slowing down and speeding up, but it's back now.
Yeah. So the Devil's Bridge was like a folklore tale. There's a bridge next to kind of where we used to live that apparently the devil had been spotted on many years ago by a passerby one night coming home from it must have been a night out or something. But apparently the devil was seen sitting on this bridge. And it is known as the Devil's Bridge. So that's definitely one. My dad told me a story years ago about how he thought he had a very, very vivid dream of how he thought he was, what's the right word? Okay, basically he was awakened from his sleep by a lights shining through his bedroom window, and he thought he was dreaming, but he said it was so vivid that he remembers standing at the window, screaming at the light, telling them to turn it off because they were going to awaken the rest of the house. And he says that that dream links back to when he was younger. And I think my auntie and my uncle can both account for this as well. When they were younger, they seen an orange orb outside their home house. Now they have no idea what it was. They were much younger at the time, but he seen the orb that day, or I'll need to clarify the details with him. But then he ended up having this dream, or he thinks it was a dream, and this light came through, and he stood for hours at the window screaming at this light to go away. And he woke up the next morning quite hoarse. So he's like, he didn't know if it was a dream or if it was like a really bad sleepwalking kind of experience that he had. I'd like to pick up on that one and tell that full story on podcast if we do another spooky one.
Our most haunted experiences. I mean, when you mentioned the devil as well there, another one from good old Derry News. Do you remember the cursing stone story? Stuff like that used to fascinate me. Apparently there's this stone somewhere that you could, like, I guess like an old pagan ritual or something like that. You could like kneel in it, and there's like slots in it for your knees and your hands, and you'd kneel in it and sort of put your hands on it and curse somebody. Mm-hmm. And apparently that would, like, they'd be, that would
properly curse them, yeah.
But it was taken so seriously. Like, I remember reading about this in like some like local history or folklore book, but it was taken so seriously that it was like the local priest and like a team of other people went and like took it away and buried it because it was like kind of like people were using it, and
Jesus,
it was kind of viewed as a bit of an omen. So yeah, it was kind of treated.
The one other big one I can think of is where we used to do our podcast up in Killygola. There's a house up behind that is said to be haunted by a poltergeist.
I remember you mentioning this.
Yeah, no, I was much younger at the time, but everybody's quite close around that area, and the family confided obviously in would have been my grandmother at the time. Not my grandmother at the time, but they confided in her, and she was my grandmother at the time. But a priest actually. Okay, so what it was, there was a party or an event that was happening at my grandmother's house. The priest was there for it, and someone asked him the question about the house that he went to visit, and he genuinely nearly had a breakdown telling the story about his experience with this house. He said he was spat on walking up to the house. He said there was definitely some kind of presence in the house that didn't want him there. He was sworn at. The family who used to live there used to hear chains dragging in the upstairs part of the house. And the father of the house recalls seeing two red eyes while he was shaving in the mirror. Now they got out of that house very, very quickly and moved away, but the house still stands. It's still there. Nobody lives. They did
the right thing.
Yeah, they did the right thing indeed. But that house is still there. That's probably like the claim to fame in terms of like haunted houses around this area. But again, I could get the full story of that one for our podcast as well. If we did local ghost stories,
that is a good one.
That'd be quite good.
I'm sure there's probably like tons and tons of like local.
There's definitely times over the years when we've been completely creeped out by stuff. I feel like we always used to hang out and walk around like woods and forests and shit like that when we were younger. And we definitely got creeped out.
We probably creeped out a fair amount of people as well.
Oh shit! Yeah, actually, I have a tremendous story, D. I'll make this one very quickly, but we went camping in Castlesheen Forest years ago. Now, D, you weren't with us on this occasion. It was myself. Friends of ours were Patrick McKenna. Joseph Brennan, Keevan was there, and I think Murray might have been there. Liam Mulligan might have also been there. We were camping in Castlesheen Forest. Well, we went to go camping in Castlesheen Forest. We pitched the tent, and we stayed up in like obviously if you don't know the forest, this won't make sense, but where we shot, your moving image film in like the higher part of the forest, like the high up where all the big massive trees are, not down where we normally camp, like where the swing is. We camped there. We pitched the tent, and we proceeded to light a fire. But there was a woman and her dog. Well, there was a woman who was walking through the forest. Now, it wasn't uncommon for people to kind of just walk through your campsite where we used to camp.
Yeah, because we weren't in a very good spot.
But she walked up. She was through the trees at one point, and we kind of spotted her, and we thought, you know, we'll just kind of keep ourselves to ourselves and let her pass by as such. And she got closer, and we kind of started freaking ourselves out, you know, just as you do, like, oh, who knows what that is, that kind of thing. But the weirdest thing was that her and her dog both passed literally, and I can't state this enough, but like feet from us, walked straight through and did not acknowledge one of us and just walked on through the forest. And we packed up our shit and we went back to McKenna's house. We called we called for a lift. And all the boy, I'm pretty sure every one of the guys will account for that sale as well. We packed up our shit and we got out of Dodge. We were like, nope, not doing this. This is too freaky. She just walked by us but didn't acknowledge us once. And we freaked ourselves out that much that it was like, let's just pack up and go. And we went back to McKenna's house and stayed in his pool room that night. I tell you when it was.
Bizarre.
It was in July. It was. I remember it. I think I might have a picture or two on my phone of us like pitching tents and stuff. But yeah, she walked clean by us, didn't acknowledge us, and then I remember it could have been myself and Liam. We were kind of talking. We were like, nobody else found it kind of weird that she just didn't acknowledge us and just walked on. Didn't even walk through like where there was a path. Just walked through the forest. And we were like, yeah. Now maybe she was just keeping herself to herself. That's fine, but it was too weird for us, and we just all went home.
Freak you out.
Yeah, because
that's bizarre. Yeah. I feel like I have heard that one before, but just never to the extent of like, oh yeah, we packed up and went home.
Oh yeah, we just went back to his house instead. Had a couple of drinks there, calmed the nerves, and and forgot about it. But yeah, there's some stories for you, me and man. Thank you for the question, and we can obviously do a full podcast. I'd love to do that on true ghost stories. Doesn't even have to be in October.
True ghost stories. I like that. It's like these ghost stories are true, unlike those other fucking ghost stories. But yeah, I get you. Like local, like personal ones. They're always, for some reason, those are always the best because you can read all you want about like the Enfield Poltergeist and with all these facts and all these witnesses and blah blah blah. But nothing will ever get you as good as like. And there I was looking at this woman 2 foot away from me.
Exactly,
wouldn't even recognize me.
Yeah,
nothing's as freaky as a story like that, but.
Yeah, I even remember, T, when we shot your moving image film and we had to go. Remember, we went up to like you took us up to like a farmhouse, and you just shone your lights on it. We were doing like experiments or something for your moving image film. Mm-hmm. And all myself and it could have been Liam Mulligan again. We always freaked each other out with this shit, but all we were talking about was aliens at the time. We were really into aliens. We freaked ourselves out so much we could not wait to get out of that fucking house.
And I thought it was about aliens. That's why.
Yeah, you made us do a scene where we had to go inside the house and close the door behind us.
Never made it into the movie.
Yeah,
it's too dark.
But thank you for the question. Yes, moving on. Next question. I fucking love this question. I genuinely think this is probably one of the most bizarre and best questions we've ever received. It comes from Deal Byrne, and he asks: yourself, James, that's you, or D, and 2 other friends of your choice get dropped into an arena with a gorilla. You're armed each with a baseball bat. How do you fancy your odds?
Fuck. With a gorilla? Just a gorilla?
A big-ass gorilla, D. I'm taking this as like fucking kingpin gorilla, you know? This is the big dog that you see at the zoo that just sits there just munching, you know? Nobody fucks with him.
Okay.
We're dropped into an arena. I'm picturing gladiatorial, you know, Coliseum. Us,
okay, yeah. I think I know one of the friends that I'm going to bring anyway.
Who's that?
We've literally basically had this conversation. Liam Mulligan.
Yeah.
And the reason being because I'm nearly certain I spent like a not necessary amount of time talking to him about could a man beat up an ape if that man was strong enough. Like Mike Tyson or someone could get in there and just start smacking an ape.
No, I don't.
Apes are like they're just like pure muscle, like all the way up.
Strong. Yeah, exactly. They're just units, like But we are armed only with baseball bats, and I'm going to go ahead and assume that they're wooden baseball bats, so they can break.
They can break, yeah.
But there's 4 of us.
Then they turn into splinters, and we can start stabbing. I think we have a chance because man is the most dangerous animal, of course, and we can just do like ancient like hunting style, where we're just like the 4 of us can kind of like distract and like pull the gorilla away from one of us while the others attack and kind of like come up with some sort of plan.
Oh yeah.
So long as we're not just dropped, if we're dropped in like literally like I'm just like plucked out of like work one day and so are you and so are the other boys and we're just dropped in and we just don't know what the fuck's going on, then we're dead, right? But if we can kind of have a bit of strategy time beforehand, yeah, because if you just get dropped into an arena with 3 other people and there's a gorilla, are you even going to know that you're supposed to kill it? You're just going to be like, what the fuck?
Well, let's just say we're pulled out of work, dropped in, there's 4 baseball bats in the ground, we pick them up and we're like, what the hell is going on? The next thing, this gate opens, this portcullis raises, and this fucking silverback ape just comes out on all 4s and he's hungry.
Yeah, is he like raging? Like he's like amped up, ready to kill, essentially.
Yeah. They're going through their mating season, you know. So he's all fucking amped up on like his hormones and shit, you know. He's full of.
And he thinks we're a threat to the.
He thinks we're a threat. We are a threat. You know,
pack.
look at us. We're delicious man, D.
Delicious man.
Yeah. I don't know if
rebrand the podcast.
Delicious man. I don't know if we have a chance at all, D. I'm not gonna lie. I'd like to think. You crack him with a baseball bat. That thing's just got a fucking break. He's gonna get angry. He just comes down with like a couple of those big fucking like bashes of his. Like we're crushed, D.
But there's 4 of us, Chris. So one of us gets crushed.
He could probably hold off one of us just with a guy with one of his fucking paws.
But he wouldn't even do that. Hey. He would just be like, they would be so single-minded. Right? I know they're intelligent, but they're not as intelligent. And there's only one of them. So like, I don't think they'd be like holding one off and attacking another. But even then, if they're doing that, there's still 2 other guys who can probably do something. One of us may die. Some of us will die.
It's a sacrifice we're willing to make.
I don't know. I don't think it's a good chance, right?
I honestly,
think there's a chance. Yeah,
I prefer our chances more against a tiger or a lion.
Yeah, well,
I don't know why.
I understand that as well.
I think it's just
tiger,
because they're on
a lion though. Like a lion would definitely take one, and then we could maybe attack the other.
So someone's gonna have to go.
Yeah, someone's dead. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I just think if we had a bit of strategy time, you might be able to work something out. I don't know. Only baseball bats makes it hard.
I like the question though. It's a hell of a question.
Very good question.
Fucking great question. Yeah.
The only way we're gonna find out is we're gonna have to do it.
We're gonna have to do it. Yeah. It could make a good video.
Call some people.
Second question from Alana Daly this week. Sticking with the OG gaming theme for our podcast. If your life was a video game, what cheat codes do you use and what do they do?
Is OG gaming meant to be obvious gaming, do you think? Is that a reference?
No, I think it's just like we were a gaming podcast at one point. We thought we were.
We worship It's Obvious Gaming podcast because they call themselves It's OG.
Yeah.
If it's not an obvious gaming reference, it's Obvious Gaming. It's a podcast for games related things.
Yeah. Yeah, go check them out.
That's what it is.
So
what was the question?
Sorry. If your life was a video game, what cheat codes would you use and what do they do?
I mean, infinite health, free money. Think of all the GTA ones. Spawn cars.
Yeah, I'm thinking. My first thought was I would just want to be like I can't die or I respawn, and I would go to the top of like a very very tall building, just throw myself off, just to experience it. But
you can still feel pain, Chris. I'm not going to feel bone in your body.
I'm not going to feel anything, D. I'm just coming straight down, you know?
You're still alive. You're just in several different places.
Yeah. I definitely think maybe speed. Like if I had super speed, that'd be pretty cool. Like Crackdown. I'm thinking like Crackdown. I'd want to be like the dudes in Crackdown. I could jump pretty far. I'm pretty nifty with a weapon.
Pretty handy with a baseball bat if you have any gorillas.
I mean, when you say cheat codes, like I always picture like GTA because that was like one of the only games I ever really used codes in. But there's a great cheat code you can use in the old Tomb Raider games, the OG Tomb Raider games. And the final part of the code is you do a backflip, and when you do, Lara just explodes.
So that's your cheat code?
And I'll give it a go and see what happens.
Infinite health.
Weapons, I guess. It'd be nice to try out some weapons.
I believe there was a cheat code, or it was like a modifier or something like that. You know, big head mode. Do you remember that in Gears?
Yeah, big head mode. Yeah, yeah.
That would be fun for
Or
a bit.
yeah, there was
Big
another
head
one in
mode.
Gears. It wasn't so much a cheat code; it was something you could do, and everybody then wore cowboy hats.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like
If I
that.
could just
Everyone
walk
wore
outside
cowboy
and
hats.
everybody would be wearing cowboy hats, that'd be pretty cool. Stensons.
I mean, that'd be a nice way to live. I
Yeah.
think.
I can't think
Not
of
enough cowboy hats.
too many other codes I've used. As you say, like the health, the money, the health, the wealth, and the a nice car or something. I mean, you're going to do that.
I just spawn cars on top of cars on top of cars.
Yeah. Maybe a helicopter just fly around for a while and then jump out.
Yeah.
Parachutes. Proper GTA style.
I would raise my wanted level. That's what I would do.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good.
Run away from the police, and then
Could you
raise my
evade?
wanted level.
Would you evade
That'd be fine.
for long?
I'll find out.
I guess we'll
That's
find
what
out.
that's what the cheat code's for. Yeah.
Again, another great question. Thank you very much. Final question this week, D. Ariane Davis again getting in touch. Which are your favorite episodes? I'm assuming she means podcast episodes. So which podcast episodes that we have done stand out in your mind as the favorites, D?
The Golden State Murderer.
I kind of
will
knew you were
always be
going to
one of
say
my
that.
favorites.
Yeah. Why is that?
I
the topic?
researched and that was so much fun. Yeah, exactly. Just finding out all about that story, and then like the kind of resolution, because like we did it in 2019, and I think the events had happened in the 70s or 80s, and the killer was literally, spoiler alert for the episode, had literally just been discovered like months prior to the podcast episode. I just thought it was so cool, the way that happened.
True, actually, yeah. When you say that, I thought more in terms of like okay, well, Dyatlov Pass I enjoyed because the research for it, and I love that topic. But I think some of my more favorite episodes are probably any of the ones that we used to do in Killygola. I think when we had like a guest on, I always love any ones with a guest. I love whenever we have one of the boys on, and we just start shooting the shit. They're always very good. They're always very enjoyable.
I think them ones are more enjoyable to shoot than these ones.
Yeah.
But whenever I listen back, I'm like, this is great fun for us. But like as a podcast episode, I prefer the ones where we're like
very tight in there. Yeah.
Digging into something just interesting, like we're just like constantly going, what?
Yeah. That's pretty enjoyable. I enjoyed the Halloween special that we did in Killygola as well. You and I did one where we decorated the set for the first time. That was also very nice. And I have to say, we shot one D. I think it's like episode 5 of the podcast. It's either like 5 or 8. It was you and myself and Paddy McCartney at the time. I think it was just the 3 of us, Killygola, and we started to shoot the podcast at like 1:45 midnight.
Oh yeah, I do remember that one. That one was really good.
For some reason, we just I don't know why we met up so late and why we went to shoot the podcast that late. What we
were motivated as fuck back then. We were like, we're just got to get in and get it done.
Maybe, but I just remember there was a piece of news that came up. You can listen back to the podcast. But
oh my god, is this who I think it is? Go on ahead.
I think there was a piece of news came up, I think, about a disaster, some kind of natural disaster. And as I was reading it, I lost my shit, giggling and laughing. You had to take over reading the news segment.
That's right.
And then I think you started losing your shit, and then we all just fucking started laughing, and it was uncontrollable.
It was on this day, I think, and it was the Fukushima nuclear disaster.
That's exactly what it was.
Laughing away.
Holy shit!
And the big tsunami that killed a bunch of people. We're like, yeah,
well done. How did you remember that?
I don't know. Some things like that just stick in my mind because that was, you're right. That was hilarious.
Yeah,
that
was a very good
episode.
That's a favorite episode. Any one day that we've done where we've went and watched a movie and then immediately came and done like a follow up. I love those as well. We haven't done one of those in a while, and there's been a lot of good episodes. Standout moments.
We should find out from everyone who's asking the questions. What's better? Is it better having a good topic where we go in depth and talk about spooky happenings, or would you just like skip straight to the community questions and listen to us talk shit at each other for an hour? Could be better. Yeah, because we should do one of those. We should get one of those in where we're just. Do you remember the one where we did how well do we know each other or something like that? We just asked each other all these what if questions.
Yeah.
That was the whole episode, was just us
Yeah.
asking, what would you do if blah blah blah.
I would love to do one of those episodes very soon, because I think I've heard this, and I've spoke to you before about this. I think it came up an episode or two ago that it's been commented to me by people who watch and listen to the podcast that they'd like to just hear us sit down and just shoot the shit for like an hour or two. Just no topic, just you and I talking, just two good friends talking. And I would very much like to do that. A tangent-heavy podcast.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, that would be very good. Lots of favorite episodes in there. More favorite parts of episodes rather than individual episodes, I think.
Yeah, probably true, actually, yeah.
And I love the early morning ones that we do as well, for some reason.
We're always early morning these days, Chris.
I just like when we're both up, rise and shine, and that's it.
Fresh.
Here we go. It's fresh with a PH.
Mm.
Thank you very much again for your question, and thank you to everybody, pardon me, for your questions this week. It means the world to us that you send them to us. For anybody who has found this podcast and is wishing or willing to send us comments, queries, questions for us to discuss, you can do so at any of our social media. Probably Instagram and Twitter are the best. Just search for Empty Promise Podcast, the handle Empty Promise Podcast. Don't be a stranger. You know, we can make your question anonymous. We can make you anonymous. Obviously, let us know. We will read out
you anonymous.
The names unless otherwise stated to do so. But it's great.
We used to make up a name.
Oh yeah, make up a name. Yeah, there you go.
Funniest name next week gets prize.
Ooh,
Giving a lot of prizes now.
Yeah, we are giving out a lot of prizes. I don't know if we can do this, but thank you for your questions. Another solid 7 questions this week, D, which is awesome to see. I think like towards the end of the year, we'll do a video of just a combination of all the community questions we've been asked. I'll just merge all of that.
We should do just a community questions episode. Very like it's obvious, just stockpile of questions and just do a big Q&A for an hour.
I would love that. If you that's it. That's why we got to keep getting your questions, because if we get enough, we can do a full fucking episode of just questions. That we would very much love to do that. Trust us. But again, let us know if that's something that you'd be interested in seeing. Do you like the actual topics that we cover, or do you prefer listening to just the community questions? Would you rather just hear me and D sit down and shoot the shit? Let us know, because that's important. It's important to us. Personal with the podcast to finish up, D?
Sounds good, yeah.
Yeah. Hit me up.
Busy week, Chris?
Yeah, you go for it.
Oh, no, I did not have a very busy week. Well, actually, I tell a lie.
I've done enough.
Yeah, that's good. Probably the biggest thing that happened to us this week was we had a bit of a COVID-19 scare.
Oh, shit. No way.
Yeah, so Laura was feeling pretty unwell, and it was I think it was high temperature, which is one of the symptoms, so had to go in and get the test done or whatever. Yeah, so it was like a drive-in one. Drive-in. Oh man, it's so serious. Actually, it felt like I was sitting in like a movie, like an apocalyptic movie. It was like
Contagion or something.
Like you drive in and they're like, don't keep your windows up at all times, and then they're like kind of everyone's like navigating you through to these like booths. So you drive into the booth, and then when you get up for your turn in the booth, they point you to this like phone number on the wall. You ring the phone number, and then they describe to you over the phone like what's going to happen, blah blah blah. And then you open your car window like a tiny crack, and they pass the test through, and then you drive on down, and then you have to do like it's like a swab. You have to put it in the back of your throat and up your nose.
Jesus,
man, it's crazy. Like, and when you're done all up there, you have to put it into a little vial. Seal the bag, and you drop it off at like this collection point on your way through. It's all one-way system, literally zero contact with anybody.
Jeez,
it's fucking mad. Like, and then like 24 hours later, got the results back, negative. Just a flu.
Okay, good.
Oh, did I keep you in suspense, Chris, today?
Well, it was on the tip of my tongue, but I was so intrigued by how organized this whole thing is. But yeah, if Laura's fine, that's the main thing, D. Glad to hear that. That's great. Thumbs up.
But
holy shit.
Yeah, it was mad. Like,
it's crazy, man.
Good to get the negative result back. It's sort of not having to self-isolate and lock down or whatever. And Laura's feeling better now as well, which is great.
Good.
But it was the first time like I've properly been like since the start of this whole pandemic, it's the first time I've kind of been like reminded of
The seriousness
people,
of it.
like, this is happening. People are
Yeah.
dying, and
Yeah.
you can't, because it feels like, especially the way like restrictions have been eased and stuff, it feels like it's gone away, but like it very much hasn't gone away.
No. We're due for another wave. Like, it's coming. It is
Oh,
coming.
it's basically here. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
the numbers are way up. Less
It's
people
fucking-
are dying though, which is obviously good.
Less people are dying, just more people are fucking contracting it because people are being stupid. People are just being really fucking stupid and ignoring everything that we should be doing.
A big piece of news actually this week we didn't even talk
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Trump.
Yeah,
Trump's got it,
exactly. Yeah.
which
is-
like,
it is.
I mean, it's always a matter of time with the way he's been acting.
It
like.
is, and it's also one of the worst things that could possibly happen, I think, is for him to get it, because either one of two things is going to happen. He's going to come back from it, and he's going to recover well, and he's going to recover fast, and he's going to be like, see,
No
I
big
told
deal.
you, there's nothing to worry
Yeah.
about.
Exactly.
Or situation gets worse, and the same thing's going to happen as what happened fucking Bojo when he got it here in the UK. He came back from it, and he started making all these decisions based off of fucking emotions and him running wild coming back from lockdown, and he started making all these stupid fucking decisions, and now Donald Trump's going to do the same thing.
Donald Trump, like, that man, the only way that this is going to change his opinion, or the way that his presidency has like handled coronavirus, is if he dies.
I mean, the Simpsons
then-
predicted it, man. I'm sure you've seen that going about.
Oh, did they? What did they do?
Well, they predicted first. Obviously, the Simpsons have predicted a lot over the years. They predicted obviously Trump's rise. They predicted coronavirus, and then they've also predicted him dying. But they predict whenever he dies, it will be the start of World War III.
Oh, that's good.
You know, there was the images going about of Trump lying in the coffin in the Simpsons. So who knows? Like, they predicted a lot of shit.
He's 74. He's pretty old. Like,
He's getting on, man. I mean,
he's definitely in the danger zone. But like, I'm still thinking he'll probably pull through.
did you see obviously, I don't want to touch on it too much, but did you see any of the debates or the? Yeah,
Just children. Like,
it's
Talking over
hilarious.
each other.
OD, it's brilliant.
it's not like, I thought it was hilarious, and now I'm just like, this is like,
it's
this is
sickening.
president of the United States of America. Like,
Yeah, he
how-
doesn't. Well,
how low, right? I don't know about you, but like, my opinion of like the presidency of America in general.
it's
and I
through the
apologize to any
floor,
American-
D. It's through the fucking.
I
floor.
can't believe it. Like,
Yeah. It's not even something that could be considered important, and not even important, but serious anymore. You know,
I know, yeah. It's like,
when you have two babies on
it-
stage fighting, but it's entertainment. You know, for me, it was very fucking entertaining. You know.
Jesus Christ, it was so fucking bad. Like, constantly talking over each other. Like,
Oh, yeah.
anytime. Fuck me. Anyway, let's
I know.
not go into it too much. Yeah, if Trump's got the COVID, I think he'll probably pull through, and yeah, it'll be as you say. It'll just be like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. Like, everyone gets, I got it, I'm fine. Look at me now, I'm better than
Mhm.
ever.
Mhm.
And then, yeah,
I know.
200,000 people in America dead from it.
Yeah.
So good for him.
What else are you up to
Um,
during your week?
Right. Watching BoJack Horseman again.
Oh,
which is
again from the
An
start.
emotional roller coaster. Yeah, from the
Oh,
start.
wow!
Emotional roller coaster, of course.
I still haven't finished.
Also, Chris started playing Fallout New Vegas of all games.
Brilliant. Why not?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. What brought you to that?
Do you remember last week we talked about Microsoft buying Fallout?
Yeah.
And that this got this idea of, oh yeah, they could do a Fallout New Vegas 2.
That's
and
right.
I was
That's
like,
right.
man, Fallout New Vegas is a good game. And I was
Mhm.
looking at like how old it looks compared to today, and I was like, it looks pretty old, but maybe I'll try it. And I tried it, and I'm like, this is good.
I
good, like-
never played New Vegas actually, but I remember you were very heavily invested in it at one point back in
I
the
loved it,
day.
but-
Yeah.
I loved it and 3, probably more than 4, but I love 4 as well. so
I didn't care for 3. So.
I enjoyed the money pit.
But that's you're watching BoJack again, man. That's I haven't even finished it the first time around. I've got like half of the last season to go. I just can't bring myself to get back into it.
I feel bad as well because so many shows have been recommended to me, but
Yeah, Cobra Kai.
BoJack is happening. It's BoJack, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. Well, I'm the same. I consider myself a bit of an asshole at the minute as well. I'll ask for advice and stuff to watch, and I just go and do something else.
Do my own thing anyway. That's
Yeah.
cool. I like that.
What else you do this week? Anything?
I think that's pretty much it, man. Yeah. That's it. Like,
I'm the same. I had a pretty average weekday. Went for coffee with one of the girls I used to work with because I didn't see her just before I left on Friday. That was. We were due to go to this coffee place in Lurgan, but it turned out to be closed. So we found a new place called like New Haven or something, which turned out to be really, really good, really, really nice. The only downside to it was where I parked turned out to be not the best of place, and was slapped with a £90 fine for being parked there over the time. But what are you gonna do, you know? So seen her for coffee on the Friday, that's right, and then met my old boss then afterwards, and we went and got food all together with another one of the girls who works there. Ended up in Bubba Drew's again, just because it's so easy and it's just so standard. It's by no means the best food, but it's just easy.
It's good food.
It's easy. Yeah, it's good food and it's easy, you know. So did that Friday. Yesterday, what did I do yesterday? I did something yesterday. No, I took Aaron and I went shopping yesterday morning. Furniture shopping, actually. We didn't actually get what we set out to get. So I think we're going to have to make a trip to IKEA one of these days soon. And that's it. That's it in terms of what I did this week. I don't think I did too much more of note. I have been watching, though. I got recommended during the week from the main man a film called The Hole in the Ground on Netflix. It's a spooky, paranormal-ish kind of... It's a horror movie, I guess, on Netflix, but it's Irish. It's Irish-based. It's very, very good.
Irish is in it's in Ireland, or Irish is in it's spoken in the Irish language?
Irish accents, Irish actors and actresses in Ireland, and I think it's directed by a Finnish guy, but it's very, very good. Family move into a house. The forest beside them has a big sinkhole in it. Weird shit starts happening. It's a good watch. I've also rewatched the first season of True Detective.
Oh, terrific.
Again, this is like my fourth fucking time, D. And I was in the mood for some McConaughey, and I was like, you know what? I'll watch like the first episode. And I think the first episode actually finishes, D, with him with the line, then you better start asking the right fucking questions. You know that, you know that line? And I was just like, oh, dude, like, I'm gonna watch the whole thing now. Like, you know, it's so fucking good.
It is so good.
So I watched it. What else have I watched? Session 9. That was the other movie I watched on Netflix. It's another paranormal type movie. Is it David Caruso? You know the guy who plays Horatio Kane in the CSI?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He's in it, and I forget the name of the other actor. Basically, they are asbestos removal guys who get hired for this job in an old insane asylum, and while they're kind of weird shit starts happening, and kind of, I'll not ruin it. There's a bit of possession. There's a bit of fucking psychological horror in it. There's a bit of it's weird. It's not overly scary, and it kind of leaves you being like, huh, all right. But it's a decent watch. I'm trying to get back into as many spooky movies as I can. I
was gonna say, sounds like you're getting into the Halloween.
Yeah, been recommended the Insidious, the later Insidious movies. I didn't care for the first one whatsoever, so I might try 3.
Don't try 2, whatever you do.
I've heard it's fucking terrible.
Sorry, wait. Insidious, Sinister is the one I'm thinking of.
Oh, I like Sinister, man. I like Sinister. Sinister's the one with the Mr. Boogie or something.
Maybe I'm.
Insidious was the one, remember?
Insidious is the one where a really good start, and then the second half of it was
where they go away. Don't watch third dimension or something.
Don't watch Insidious 2.
Fourth dimension. Or no?
Do you know the bad part of Insidious 1?
Mm-hmm. It's all Insidious 2?
It's like 80% that fucking I hated it.
That's disappointing.
Like it.
Yeah, yeah, I've been told that as well. So I might try the third one. I will today. I think we're going to watch Dog Soldiers today. Remember Dog Soldiers?
Yeah, Dog
Werewolf
Soldiers.
movie. Fucking
Class.
cracking movie. Yeah, really recommend that. So I might watch that today. I got myself an Indian takeaway last night, D, which turned out to be delicious. Went to that Monaghan Spice. Don't know if you've been there before.
Is that the one in the Diamond?
Yep.
So where the cinema is?
Yep.
We parked there last time we went to Monaghan for food, and I was like, that looks good.
Delicious, man. Fucking delicious. Really, really good. And I played some Rocket League this week because it was free again.
That's right.
So I re-downloaded it. I got the Season 6 update, obviously, for Warzone. I jumped in like twice. That's all I've played.
On PC, Season 6 to the latest update is 250 something gigabyte.
Yeah. You see, it doesn't actually, I think it doesn't actually take 250. You have to have that on hand. It might be like 100 and something, but you have to have so much on hand. Is that right?
No, I think it's different on PC for some reason.
Is it?
It's like, on PlayStation and Xbox, it only downloads Warzone when you update Warzone.
That's right. That's
But
right.
on
Oh,
PC,
that's right. You download the whole fucking Modern
Warfare.
Oh.
It's like, what? I was like, no way. Just no way.
Because I had every intention of putting it up and seeing if we could get like our Discord thing that we said started and seeing if I could get some members of the community to jump in.
There is a game, Chris, that we will play on Halloween. Laura showed it to me. I don't remember the details of it, but I'll get it for you later. Basically, 4-player co-op paranormal investigators walking into a house with like a torch and nothing else and trying to work out what's going on.
Send this to me. We'll get 2 more members of the community and we will do this. That sounds terrific. That's right up my street. Because I'm seriously considering jumping into Outlast again this week. Might do a video for it now. Haven't done a video for it in a while.
Haven't done a video in ages.
Yeah, exactly. I re-put up this week. I redid the PT video that we did years ago. I just cut it all down and took like some of the best bits and stuck it up on our Instagram.
Oh, on Instagram? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, I haven't put
It's a great video, actually.
Yeah, I should put it up on our YouTube actually, because the 5-minute video is much more watchable than the original 20-minute video.
15-minute video is where it's the director's cut, right?
That's it. Yeah. That's all I've done this week, I think, D. I mean, I'm definitely missing something. I've been in contact, like I've been talking to different members of people who follow the Empty Promise podcast. Just talking about like different bits that I've either put in the story or what I'm watching or what we're planning to do and things like that. But I think that's it. It's been quiet. I have 0 plans for today as well. We'll get this edited and I'm gonna watch a scary movie and maybe get some food and that's it.
Excellent. That's just what Sundays are for, man.
What's your plans? Have you any plans for this week?
Yeah, something similar. Like, I mean, it's gonna be just get some food after this. We'll walk the dogs, and then it's video games and a movie tonight. Probably that's it.
That sounds terrific. Terrific. Yeah.
Start researching for next week's podcast, obviously, because it takes about it takes about 40 hours all of research, to get ready for one of these.
Yeah.
So
it really does. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's it. That's all I have. That was personal, I think. That's as personal as we're going to get this week. Yeah. I see that we're running quite a bit of time on this one. This must be a big episode.
We like to run the tangents by, what can I say?
Yeah. So we'll wrap this
in post.
Yeah, we'll wrap this one up. This will be episode 105. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for tuning in to episode 105 this week. Thank you so much to everybody who got in touch with your community questions this week. Again, we will get more off you during the week. Can't wait to hear from you. Stick with us throughout the month of October for more spooky, paranormal, alien, UFO investigations, serial killer, fucking who knows what kind of weird, creepy topics we're going to get up to this week. And if hearing an episode where D and I just shoot the shit is something that would interest you, please let us know and we will make that happen. Also, you can find the video version of this podcast over at youtube.com/Empty Promise Podcast, or the audio version is available on any podcast hosting service. If you are listening to us somewhere where you can leave us a review, like a 3-star, 5-star, thumbs up, whatever kind of star.
Don't lead with 3-star, 5-star.
5-star. 5-star would be great. It means the world to us. It just means that we get a bit more traction in the podcast kind of world community, and we can keep amping up the episodes. Exposing ourselves on the internet each and every week. Thank you for being a part of it. Dee, have you got anything else you want to say?
No, stay safe out there.
Stay safe, everyone. We will see you all next week, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Goodbye and God bless.